What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another day of the RSL, the final day of RSL Season 3 here in 2025. I'm State, joined with me is Sturgeon. How excited are you to kick off the finals of RSL?
Oh, extremely. That's the bad news, right? It's the last day. But the good news is we have three amazing series here today. A best of 5, and then 2 best of 7s, followed up by a best of 3 reset if it's needed. I cannot wait, dude.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of games. The final players are standing. We're going to be kicking it off with Classic versus SHIN. Maru and Hero waiting in the wings. Maru will face the winner of this first best of 5 series, and then Hero, the upper bracket champion, is waiting in the grand final for one final contender before he lifts the crown. It's going to be an exciting day.
Who was your prediction, State, if you had to put your money on the line?
To win the whole thing today, I mean, it has to be Hero. He's going into the grand final. He hasn't dropped a series yet here in the playoffs. That was a really fantastic best of 7 that he played versus Maru yesterday. A 4-3 victory. He was down 3-1. And you could see him just downloading the way that Maru was playing and making adaptations over the course of the series, was finally able to solve this defensive TVP style that Maru has been showcasing here in RSL. He's now in the grand finals. He's going to have the upper bracket advantage, of course, being a double elimination. You got to lose 2 series.
Yeah, it's tough. And what a series that was. Probably the best series of the whole season, I would say. Hero versus Maru. Definitely check that out if you haven't seen it. Also, Reina versus SHIN, Game 5, nail biter. Really, really amazing Game 5 there. Recommend you check out that one as well. But yeah, lots of good StarCraft action here, and 4 amazing players. What more can you say?
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun as Classic versus SHIN will be the first best of 5 today. Maru will face the winner of this series, and for Classic, it's a little bit surprising to have him down here in the lower bracket, but he was knocked out in the first round of the winners by Raynor. A 3-2 defeat to Raynor had him have to fight through Zound, through Max Packs, and now through SHIN to have a chance at three-peating here in the RSL finals. And it's just going to be a great day, and we want to give a big shout-out to our official partner here for RSL Season 3, Archon Studio. They are making the StarCraft tabletop miniatures game. We've got a box right here. Pre-sales are going to go live later this year. And it's just so exciting to have more StarCraft merch like this, officially licensed StarCraft merch. We have the Zeratul right here in this studio, and it's a smart move by them to send it to a bunch of Protoss players here. And it just looks fantastic. We're going to be painting this sometime during the RSL off-season, I am sure. But yeah, big shout out to Archon Studios. We appreciate them so much.
And big shout out to everyone over on the patreon.com/revivefc2. This is kind of how we're supporting our tournament these days. It's a grassroots movement. You guys can subscribe at different tiers, which come with different perks. You can vote for the maps. You can vote for the players. You can even get an offline ticket if you're a high enough tier. There's a bunch of other ones, not just what you see on the screen right now. So thank you so much to everyone who's already pledged, and we encourage you to check it out.
TastelessThreads.com also has RSL merchandise, and if you're a Patreon supporter, you enjoy a 20% discount and on not just the RSL merch like the hoodie, the mug, the t-shirt, the pins, but also all the good Tasteless TV shirts that he's got. You know they're good because we see Tasteless TV wearing them all the time when we are not shooting the RSL. He's a big fan of his own merch, and we are too. It's really fun stuff. And at the same website, TastelessThreads.com, you can get the tickets to the RSL Revival 2025 offline finals. This is a proper offline finals. We are renting out a big Coliseum. It's called The Big Place.
Coliseum. Oh, yeah. I like that, dude.
Oh, it's a good word,
that sounds
man.
Epic, man.
Here in Seoul, Korea, in the Gangnam area, December 13th and 14th for a 2-day offline finals. The 3 champions, or whoever got the highest place, because Classic won twice, so that's Zound for Season
right.
2. We'll find out who's going to go in for Season 3. We'll be going there, and it's going to be 2 days of just non-stop StarCraft II gameplay. Day number 1 is going to be the LCQ, Last Chance Qualifier. You might be thinking, qualifier, surely that's happening before the tournament. Surely that's online. No, it's going to be an epic single elimination bracket for all of the players who have participated in the RSL main tournament and the qualifiers for the RSL. If they can make it out to Seoul, Korea and compete, they will be there. A lot of folks have already signed up. I'm pretty sure Hero and Maru are 2 of those who have already signed up, but they have very good shots of even advancing this weekend.
Yeah, indeed. And then after Saturday, it's down to 4 players remaining. Our Season 1, 2, and 3 champions, plus whoever wins that LCQ. and we'll have a 4-man bracket to wrap it up and see who is our offline finals. It's going to be incredible, guys. Also, please check out the YouTube, youtube.com/@ReviveSC2. Help us spread the word about this tournament. There's still a lot of people kind of in the StarCraft II scene who don't know about it. We're trying to grow this thing, make it get to as many people as possible. So if you're over there, please feel free to drop a comment, a like, all that good stuff, and help us keep this thing going.
Yeah, we've seen a big uptick in engagement here in RSL Season 3, and sincerely, thank you. You guys have been awesome. We're getting the RSL word out there on YouTube, and it's just been spectacular, man. What a great season thus far. What a great year for RSL. Of course, this is the final day of Season 3, but we do have that offline finals coming later, and man, 3 really exciting series to close it out. Classic versus SHIN is going to be kicking off in just a minute as the players are getting ready. Best of 5 PVZ, and I have to ask you, Sturgeon, who do you give the advantage to in this best of 5 series? Who do you think is going to advance and play Maru in the best of 7 coming up after this?
I think Shin's actually looking very strong in this matchup. I think he's playing what is strongest in the meta right now, which is a lot of Hydroling Bane timings. We saw him, we saw Reina take out Classic before, so he has those VODs to look at to see kind of how to pick apart the defenses of Classic. I think it's going to be very close. I would not be surprised to see this game to go to game 4 or even 5, but I'm going to say SHIN. How about you?
I agree with you that SHIN has been looking really good in the current iteration of StarCraft II. Lair tech timings are very strong, and that's always been SHIN's forte, but I'm going to tell you, if there's any player in the world with Protoss who's going to be hard to topple with a lair tech timing attack, it's going to be Classic. This guy, he has always been versatile, but he's really reinvented himself in the past couple of years as the macro Protoss to be. And that doesn't mean he's incapable of doing a lot of other builds. He's got about as wide a range as anybody. But defensively, Classic has been so on point, especially in the RSL. Season 1 and Season 2 champion, largely carried by the defense. In Season 3 right now, he's in the lower bracket, but he is looking for a chance to three-peat as we are already going into game number 1 of this best of 5. SHIN spawning in the bottom left is the red Zerg, Classic, the blue Protoss in the top left. And yeah, just to quickly summarize that, I give it to Classic, man. I'm right there with you. I think this one's probably going to a game 4. It's probably going to a game number 5, but Classic's defense is just so strong.
Yeah, I would be with you if it weren't for the kind of recent meta changes we've seen where Protoss is, well, especially Classic in particular, is moving away from the kind of Oracle, Stalker into Storm style that we've seen. And he's been playing a lot of charge builds, these kind of new builds that it looks like he's working on, trying to, forge his own way in the meta. And it looks strong. Don't get me wrong, it looks very strong. But I'm not sure if it's quite as good as he was on the last patch when Storm was the go-to. So I think this could go either way. We'll have to see. First map here is going to be Persephone. We have SHIN as the red Zerg in the bottom left and Classic as the blue Protoss in the top left.
And it's a good point that you make about Storm. We do have MaxPax, or I should say we did because he's now been eliminated, but we had MaxPax playing a lot of games in this tournament, and he seemed like one of the few Protoss players who wasn't really shying away from the fast Storm builds despite the changes to that ability. And Storm is still good, but it has been reimagined a little bit. It's undergone a redesign. It doesn't do damage quite as quickly, but the duration is longer. The size effect is larger, so there's a bigger AoE. But in a pro scene, usually it's the first couple of ticks of damage that are going to be the really impactful ones because players are so good at microing out of Storm the moment that it pops, right?
Yeah.
You're probably only getting a couple of ticks. And so, yeah, you're right. We've seen quite a transition from a lot of these players, Classic included, in terms of not going for fast Storm very quickly, whereas that was kind of what he did in PvZ.
Every game. Like, he didn't even try and hide it a lot of the time. He just said, I think this is the best style. I think I'm very good at this style. I'm going to run this every game, and it was extremely successful. Now, as we see the tech come down here, I'm starting to wonder if we might see one of these builds that's kind of very good on Persephone, where they make multiple oracles. We've seen Hero do this. I think we've seen Classic do this as well against Zergs. And then you send the multiple oracles into the main base, try and overwhelm the Queens or the Spore Crawler, and try to get some big damage going.
That certainly is a possibility here with the close air distance on Persephone. We'll see if Classic does go for it. As it is right now, both players just macroing quite normally here. SHIN will be taking a third hatchery in just a moment. Adept is not going to get cross-map in time to stop that, but if Classic does pair this first Adept up with the second one that's going to be finishing from the gateway in a moment, he might try and trade these out for a couple of drones. We have seen that mixed in a couple times here in the RSL, but for now I was going to say that he's probably just going to get some scouting information, but he's actually going to get all the way up into the main base here surprised that SHIN didn't jump on this with the Lings, but I guess he figured it wasn't worth the trade.
Well, once you get off the creep with the Adepts, you start to outrun the Zerglings, right? They can't quite chase it down. So you can potentially lose a couple of Zerglings there. So I do like the pullback from SHIN. And he knows he has the Queens there to zone those Adepts out. Now, like you said, there's 2 of them joined up. This is where the potential to one-shot drones is on the table here. We'll have to see if he wants to commit to the Shade or not. With the Lings following, though, it's always risky. And we have a first Oracle and a second one on the way right now.
Yeah, Spore Crawler about 75% done in the main base. Oracle might get there before it's finished. Oh, is this going to be done just in the nick of time? It looks like it barely is. So Oracle going to get 1, 2, not a second drone kill, actually.
It might go down.
And the Queen getting the final kill. Oh, man, Classic a little bit greedy, and he only gets 1 drone to show for it. This is a worst-case scenario here for Classic.
That's a bit of a disaster. I mean, you want to get a couple drones, pair it up with the second Oracle, go back in once the shields regen. And if you were ever thinking about going for multiple Oracles, I think that's completely off the table once you lose the first one. So very good start by SHIN. His Spore, by the way, was timed absolutely perfectly. The second the Oracle flew in. Very nice defense so far by SHIN.
Yeah, the timing was so perfect, it almost looked scary. But it finished maybe 3 or 4 seconds before that Oracle got into the main base. Just absolute perfect timing coming in from our Zerg player. And in a momentum-based matchup like PvZ, where so much of the advantage in the mid-game hinges on success in the early game in terms of denying creep tumors, killing drones with the Oracles, getting a fast third base and securing that with Oracles as Protoss. Here for Classic, losing that first Oracle for just 1 drone is frankly a disaster because you're expected to get a couple of drone kills essentially for free. You're expected to trade the HP of the Oracle for 3, 4, 5 drones over the course of a couple of minutes. For Classic, he did not get that trade whatsoever. He has 1 Oracle on the map right now. He's going to try and find some new damage with a couple of Adepts moving across the map, but these are Adepts without glaives. They are assisted by a relatively low HP Oracle, but it's really the Blink +1 follow-up that I'm honing in on.
Yeah, definitely. On the side of SHIN, we saw a +1 melee build coming out of him. They can deal with Stalkers in large numbers. He's going for Leia now. He will add on those Hydralisks eventually, but for the moment, he's going to have to rely on just his Lings to deal with these Stalkers and Adepts. With that upgrade, once it kicks in, they're definitely, able to do so. But right now, that gateway down here is the big kind of issue for SHIN.
Yeah, 6 more gateways were in production. 2 of them just finished up, so this is going to be a really all gas, no brakes timing attack coming in here from Classic. And so it's important for him to keep SHIN's attention focused on these 5 Adepts with the Oracle. This means that SHIN is not scouting for anything like this proxy gateway here in the bottom left. The Overlord is not going to spot it here in those speed zones. In Classic, I'm expecting at least 1 or 2 more Warpins before he tries and get the kill on this 4th hatchery. If he can take this hatchery down, he is back in this game.
Oh, absolutely. This is, there's not like a quick storm coming out here. He's actually committing quite a lot into this blink pressure, and SHIN has to find that out and not take too much damage. As you said, he's actually droned a lot. 72 is maybe a little bit more than you would want to hold off a committed Stalker pressure, and right now they're going to work on this 4th hatchery state.
Yeah, Classic. The moment that he saw those linked over the surround on the Adepts, he's like, okay, now is my time to go for this hatchery. More Stalkers are warping in. It looks like the hatchery is going to go down. Oh, it doesn't. Classic doesn't go for the final blow. Instead, he retreats to try and protect the pylon and the proxy gateways. Well, +1 melee attack is completed right now. Blink is on cooldown. Finally able to use that ability again, but the pylon falls despite Classic's attempt to save it.
Yeah, amazing. They had 5 queens over there, and the hatchery is still going to go down in the end. So you can't really say this was good for SHIN, but at least he does depower that 1 gateway. Got to not bleed out too many units here, and I still feel like he's slightly overdrone there. Maybe, the mid-60s or even low 60s against the committed pressure is what you want. But he has a Spire coming up behind this.
He does have that Spire. He has a lot of minerals and gas banks, so we might have a ton of mutas enter the field. Really, there's a decision to be made by SHIN. Do you go for mutas or do you go for Hydras? As the Stalkers will get recalled out. Now, this was a timing attack from Classic. If the pylon didn't go down with the gateway, he might have been able to go for a lot more damage. So for SHIN, as you said, it's not the best case scenario because he lost the hatchery, but this could have been a lot worse, and Classic invested a lot in that attack.
Yeah, definitely. The issue here is he going to see these mutas in time? If they can get across the map into a mineral line, it could be disastrous. These Lings will go into the 3rd as well, perhaps buying time for the mutas to go to the main. We know the air rush distance is short on this map. All the Stalkers are over here, which, leaves the main open for the Mutalists once they do pop here in just a second. We have Storm on the way, Charge Lot as well, and a 4th base for Classic. SHIN still on 3 bases, going for 2 hatcheries at a time right now.
And I wonder how much static defense we're going to have at the home base of Classic. I did see a photon cannon or two in the production tab right there, but a lot of mutas are going to be a threat here, both in the main base and in the fort. Those are the most exposed expansions right now here for Classic as SHIN. He's trying out 14 plus more mutas, so this is going to be a full-on mutaling Baneling game coming in from our Zerg player.
Yeah, we've seen some builds where you make a handful of mutas, then you go back into Hydra Ling, but that is not the case here. He's very committed to these mutas, so he needs to get good damage. This is a great start. You're going to pick off up to about 10 workers, just 9 so far. The Warpin will save the mineral line for now. And these Stalkers, I'm not sure exactly where they're going right now. He needs these at home to deal with the Mutalisks at some point if he's not going to be more aggressive with them.
I think these Stalkers accomplished their job in taking out that 4th hatchery, and now he's just trying to get back on his side of the map as quickly as possible without using recall. But SHIN, he is fishing for this army. He sees it right now. Those are +1 Lings and a ton of mutas. He's going to be forcing the fight coming in on both sides. Classic, he tries to blink to mitigate the surface area here on the Lings, but they are just feasting on this Gateway army. Those Stalkers cleaned up for basically nothing. Even the Stasis Ward getting denied, so Classic not able to have any time bought by that ability usage. There are 6 Templar. Storm should be done. The Storms are coming in right now, but there isn't very much assistance. The Mutas get on top of the Templar, and SHIN is in a commanding position right now.
4 High Templars going, 2 of them going down, 4 of them forced to merge there. Huge win for SHIN as he continues to trade out Lings for these Stalkers. The Mutaflock is just getting too high in number, though. I feel the anti-air isn't here anymore for Classic, and I think he may just be broken here in game number 1 state.
Yeah, the momentum just a little bit too high in SHIN's favor. He navigated this game so well, despite losing the 4th hatchery, still going into the Mutaling, and he just barrels through Classic side of the map. A well-navigated mid-game by SHIN, and he's up 1-0 in this best of 5.
Yeah, indeed. I thought he was in a little bit of trouble with the Stalker pressure hitting so hard, but taking out that pylon proved to be key. Even though he lost some Lings for it, it took the pressure off him, allowed him to get his tech up in the Mutalisks. Then he hits back with some probe damage of his own, and then that big catch on the Stalkers was the big moment there, right?
Yeah, Classic wasn't going for a 4th base very quickly. He got Blink and +1, but wasn't going for the other upgrades very quickly. There was no tech transition. A lot was committed in that timing attack, and even though he got the cancel on the 4th base, SHIN can just take that again. It wasn't any substantial economic damage. He was able to get some counter jabs in there with the mutas, with the Zerglings. The trade was cost efficient. Yeah, very well played by SHIN. And honestly, if he can keep having early and mid games like this versus Classic, he's going to have a very good time in this series, because one thing that it feels like Classic does better than basically anybody else is he typically finds good damage with the Oracles, with the early Adepts, and he doesn't lose very much for it. He almost always has an early advantage in PvZ, but that was not the case in game number 1. The first Oracle went down for literally 1 drone.
Yeah, if we go back to that moment, that's kind of where it all began, right? You're looking for the Oracle tax is supposed to be a little bit higher than that. Wasn't able to get that damage. And I love the way SHIN's playing with these layer-based timings and aggressive strategies, because Classic is probably the best Protoss in the world at late-game PvZ. Unless your name's Cyril, you do not want to go there with him. Like, you just don't want to do it. So I like that SHIN is trying to end the game early before Classic gets up to his 4th and 5th and even more bases.
It's a good game plan, but you need to have some kind of advantage going into it, I think, because if Classic is able to get some more damage done with the Oracles in the early game without losing them, if he's able to get, say, a couple of drone kills with the early 2 Adepts, as he tried to do in that game but saw too many Lings and eventually peeled back instead, well, then suddenly SHIN's going to have a hard time, because Classic is one of the best defensive players in the world. If anyone is going to stop a lair tech timing attack, it's going to be Classic. But at the same time, here in RSL Season 3, it is SHIN who is making these attacks work against basically everybody.
Yeah, I mean, he already has taken out a lot of Protosses on the way here, so would not be surprised to see him do so again. But don't count out Classic just yet. I don't think we'll see anything like that Oracle harass go as poorly for him in the future games. I feel like that's kind of a one-off. It's pretty rare to see that happen at Classic's level. And yeah, let's go into map number 2, guys. It is going to be on Magnetic North.
Yeah, Classic spawning in the bottom left, SHIN in the top right. As we continue on in this best of 5 series, very early probe scout coming in here by Classic. He will be trying to deny the hatchery at the natural expansion.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and try and block that. Force the Zerg to take the 3rd base hatchery. Not the biggest of deals. Zergs are used to dealing with this. You do lose some mining time with that probe, with it coming out so early, obviously. Oh, Actually decides not to take this one as well.
He's going for the spawning pool first instead. He might still take that hatchery, but it's interesting to go for the pool before the hatch, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I actually play this build on ladder.
Oh, do you?
I play 17 pool all the time, and the way it works out against hatchery first is you lose about 100 minerals overall. So it's actually not that inefficient. You can take the third base around 26 supply.
But he actually takes the natural again because the hatchery is so delayed because he went for the pool. Classic has to go see what's going on in Shin's main base because, hey, it could still be a 12 pool. You have to scout. You have to confirm here as Classic and Shin uses that opportunity to take the natural. I was scratching my head a little bit about the decision to go pool first, but oh my goodness, it makes a lot of sense now.
Yeah, I think this build's like pretty good. Like it's slightly less mineral efficient than hatch first, but not so much that it's going to lose you the game or even give you a sizable disadvantage. But you can also mess the Protoss up a little bit. Like they're not as comfortable playing against pool first as they might be against hatch first. And it also has some potential aggressive timings behind it. Like you can do a quick roach all in, you can do some other stuff, you know. So the Protoss has to be a little bit more kind of careful and thinking about what the Zerg is doing in this case.
Yeah, and honestly, any kind of economic deficit that you might have by going pool first is mitigated by the fact of you having the hatchery and the natural expansion where it's supposed to be instead of the third. That's going to make every drone rally a little bit easier for you in the early game. And yeah, just a well-timed response by Shin. I don't think he would have done that if it wasn't for this really early scout.
Yeah, indeed. It almost gets in there, but the wall is blocked. The probe somehow survives. I thought he might try and target that down. And we see 2 queens at a time here coming out for Shin. It's a little bit different to kind of the pool first builds that I've seen. Normally you get the hatchery a little bit earlier here on the third base. I imagine we'll see that soon. He's got his Ling speed out now, coming online at a reasonable time. And Classic going for a Stargate behind this.
Yeah, Classic going for the Stargate once more here as the Adept goes cross-map. Zergling speed a little bit delayed in this game. Oftentimes in ZVP you see that finishing around 3:30. I think it will be just a touch later here in game number 2. That means that Classic has some more time to scout here with these Adepts.
Yeah, I think when you go pool first, it finishes around 3:45, 3:50. In time to harass a third base if the Protoss wants to take it at that time. You can't have it any later than that because then you have no pressure, right? But yeah, it will be later, as you said. Now we see the 2 Adepts joining up. They will confirm this third base location for Shin and just see what info they can get here as the first Oracle comes out.
And I wonder if we're going to dive into the natural expansion. Usually if the Protoss does it, they're going to fake going up the ramp and then go straight to the minerals. In this case, he's just going to cancel. He wants the scouting information. Shin has been playing quite safely, not just in this series, but throughout the entire RSL. He made even a couple more Lings there just in case Classic goes for the dive with 2 Adepts. And so, yeah, Classic, I think he knows that coming into this one. He's definitely the kind of player that will do his research on his opponent. And so he's respecting the defensive capabilities of Shin here in the early game. He's going to pull back with those 2 Adepts and just try and get some damage done with this Oracle.
Nice positioning with these queens. Sends the first Oracle home right away. Well, just shoots it away. Won't take any damage immediately. Once that groups up with the second Oracle, he can send it in again to the main or the natural. But I like the way he used the Adepts there. Just checking if there's any more units, any crazy all-in or anything like that come in. That might be one reason we didn't see the Shade. And it's going to be a third base here and a Twilight follow-up.
Yeah, interesting that we have a Twilight and no Forge assisting it. Instead, 2 more Gateways coming in. And without an additional Oracle being started, I feel like this probably isn't going to be Mass Blink with Oracle, but I wonder what the extra 2 Gateways are for then. Oh, it's going to be Glaives.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, that tracks.
Okay, finally getting some drone damage here. This is nice for Classic as long as he keeps these Oracles alive. And now it's kind of up to Shin to sniff out this Adept timing that's going to be coming out and see if he can defend it without losing too much.
More Adepts being warped in right now by Classic. Shin is starting +1 melee attack, but it likely will not be done by the time this attack commences here by Classic. And the Adepts is something that always gets mixed in to a best-of-5 series, it feels like, in PvZ. You just never know which map it's going to be on.
Well, I was expecting map 3, which is Evil Heart, but Classic kind of mixing it up here, going for it on a Magnetic North instead. I like that choice because you probably expect this build to come out on Evil Heart. That makes sense to me. We'll have to see if Shin is going to be ready for this. Right now he's got his hands full dealing with these 2 Oracles.
Yeah, Oracles have been able to find some good damage as Classic just has 2 Adepts on the front line, making sure that he can block any scouts coming in here by Shin. But you see 2 more Adepts over there on that side, and you got to be scratching your head a little bit by Shin. What are you hiding here as Classic is what Shin's going to be wondering. Probe's going to make a citizen's arrest right there on that Zergling. Not one of them even falling. And now the Adepts already cross-map. The Baneling Nest is starting here for SHIN, but it's not going to be done for the first wave of this attack.
Yeah, you have to rely on just the Queenling defense, which can be so tough because you also have to follow the Shade. Classic going to move in here, takes out 2 Queens uncontested. Stasis Ward's going down, set off by just 1 or 2 units. That's very nice by SHIN. But the problem is he's going to start to lose drones here.
Yeah, he's going to lose drones, and that Shade is going to complete. He goes into the natural expansion behind the mineral line, and there's very little surface area for these Lings to get damage done. SHIN, the Baneling Nest a little bit too late, +1 melee attack not done in time, and Classic with a cheeky little 4-gate glaives after the 3rd Nexus. He's going to be able to take game number 2 in pretty quick fashion.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, like you said, you got to throw this build in there in a long series at least once. I think for SHIN, the problem is we saw his Ling poke in at the end there, but I think it was just a little bit late. If it goes in earlier and sees those Adepts warp in, or he sees more Adepts there than he's used to, he can be ready for that and start to make units earlier. But as it was, he was kind of surprised by it.
He was trying to get the scouting information, but Classic had a pair of Adepts in front of the 3rd base, and then he had another pair of Adepts at another junction in the map.
Yeah, that's true.
And so SHIN, that was like the 3rd Ling, the 3rd or the 4th Ling that he had sent into the 3rd base trying to gather information, and I don't think he really thought it was suspicious until he scouts the 2nd pair of Adepts blocking a scouting Ling. And that's when the Ling production began there for SHIN. Of course, he got the confirmation once he scouted the 3rd base fully, but yeah, on Magnetic North, the 3rd to 3rd distance is actually closer than it feels like, right? I mean, you see this map, and it's quite narrow. It's very vertical in that way. And so you'd think you might have a little bit more time, but those Adepts got into the 3rd base of SHIN in like a shade and a half.
Yeah, they hit super fast, and great scouting denial there by Classic. Okay, guys, please check out the YouTube at Revive SC2. Help us get discovered. Help push this tournament into the algorithm. Like a comment, like a video, drop a comment, whatever it is you guys want to do. We appreciate all of it. And to all of you who are watching over there on YouTube, thank you so much.
Of course. We're going to take a short break now. When we come back, this best-of-5 series between Classic and SHIN will continue, all tied up right now 1-1. We'll see who wins game number 3 in a minute. Welcome back, everyone. We are getting ready to hop into game number 3 between Classic and SHIN, all tied up 1-1. It's been a really fun series so far. We've had some fast games.
And I don't think they're going to get any longer because the next map here is going to be Evil Heart.
Oh, true.
If you've got an aggressive build, this is the time to use it. You know, the shortest rush distance in the pool. So I'm expecting something aggressive from at least one of these guys, if not potentially both.
Yeah, I'm definitely expecting something aggressive out of the both of them because Evil Heart, very short rush distance, very hard to expand. Even past 3 bases, the 4th base, it's very wide open and exposed. Not a lot of defenders' advantage besides the closer rally points. And I wonder what builds these players have prepared for us because SHIN is one of the most aggressive ZVP players I think that we have currently in the RSL. And Classic, you never know what you're going to get with him. He is capable of absolutely anything. This Patreon supporter-voted map has been so much fun from RSL Season 1 all the way through RSL Season 3. And we're going to hop into it now. The map is loaded in. Classic spawning in the top right, SHIN down in the bottom left of Evil Heart.
Yeah, we did see Reyna go for a cheeky pull first in a proxy hatch on this map in this matchup. So curious if SHIN has any kinds of ideas of something crazy aggressive like that. We actually do see a drone moving out right now, so maybe he does. I mean, why else would you send the drone out if not to make a hatchery somewhere, right?
Wait, is the top left base? There's no way that's a gold, right?
Is he gonna?
We never actually seen anyone expand.
Oh, it is a gold.
It is a gold.
Oh.
This map is so aggressive. We've never seen anybody take a corner
before
base.
we see the corner bases taken. Wow.
Oh man, we have the gold base coming in.
I like this.
It's actually a shock to me now that I think about it that we have not seen a Zerg player go for a fast gold on Evil Heart. Or at least I haven't casted those games yet in the RSL.
I don't think it's happened so far, but here we go. SHIN going to be setting the meta here, and the problem for Classic is, do you find this? I mean, when you see there's no natural and no pool, you're going to know there's one somewhere, but...
It's a gold with 8 mineral patches, too. This income's going to be through the roof, man.
Yeah.
That's a lot of mining.
That's going to be so much income for SHIN once he transfers some drones over there. The only issue is that it's so disconnected from your main, it can be difficult to, you know, hold things like a depth pressure and that kind of stuff. So
yeah.
I think you do have to make a few more units early, but the income you get from the gold will offset that easily, I'd imagine.
Oh, Classic's going to barely
he's
miss.
gonna see
Okay,
it.
he moves the probe just in time to spot it. He sees the drones going to saturate that top left base, and just quickly, I'm trying to think back in other gold bases. Don't they usually have 6 mineral patches? Because I remember doing a little bit of napkin math a long time ago, and I saw the gold as basically being like a high-yield Vespene gas base, where it's like, well, you know, if there's one high-yield Vespene gas, it costs less drones to saturate it, but the income's going to be about the same. And the gold is the same way. If it's 6 mineral patches, well, you saturate it more quickly. The mineral income comes in a lot faster, but once it's fully saturated, it's basically equivalent to a blue-based mining, right? And it mines out very quickly as well, but 8 mineral patches there in the top left.
Yeah, indeed. It's going to be so much money for him. He brings a Zealot over here first right now. SHIN does have Lings on the way. I think he can deal with this with 4 Lings and a Queen eventually once that does come out. You don't want to lose a Ling right off the bat, though. Right now, you need to buy time for the Queen to get here, I think, to aid these Lings.
Yeah, the probe actually provides so much value here, too, for that Zealot. It makes it so it 2 shots the Lings instead of 3 shots. It's like budget +1 as the Zealot is able to get in there. Oh, even Mineral Walking the probe to get it. And having one more shot off on that Zergling as now the Adept is going to be joining the fray. The Zealot still has not gone down. This is not paying off for SHIN just yet.
No, this looks like it might be a bit of a disaster if he can't, keep these drones alive. He made the gold base and you can't actually mine from it now. Classic doing a good job kind of punishing this risky choice out of SHIN. But the Adept does go down.
And we already have a Roach Warren coming in from SHIN, so I'm not sure how many more drones we're going to have made by the Zerg player. He's sitting at 17 right now.
0 more,
It's
I reckon.
only 4 workers mining here in the top left, and so the mineral income, usually it's very high when you go for a gold expansion like this, and that powers you. It like catapults your economy forward for an all-in timing like the one that SHIN is going for right now. But eco-wise, because of the damage done by that Zealot, the Probe, and the Adept, it's actually Classic who already has the income advantage, and quite substantially too.
Yeah, indeed. SHIN sitting on that 17 work account. He doesn't have a big income, but what he does have are 5 Roaches, which will be coming across the map right now. We see a Dark Shrine coming out for Classic. That's the timer. If you don't kill Classic before then, you have no chance. You won't have detection. You won't be able to hold your faraway base. SHIN is all in right now, trying to make this happen in game number 3.
And notably, there is no Stargate here for Classic, so until that Dark Shrine is finished, he's going to have to rely on Adepts, Stalkers, and Zealots predominantly here for the defense in the natural expansion. And he's planning to be the aggressive one. He doesn't know that SHIN is going for this all-in timing just yet. If he did, he would be throwing down some shield batteries for sure right now, maybe even a second pylon to make sure these gateways don't get unpowered. But SHIN, he has the element of surprise, a lot more Lings in production. Classic's getting ready to move out against this, but it's SHIN who's going to be attacking him.
Yeah, he's going to catch these Adepts here. I think they will finish the Shade just so they don't all die here, but that leaves the front door open. These Roaches and Ravagers will take that down, no problem. Corrosive Bios on the pylon there. Okay, nice block here, but SHIN needs to get in.
Yeah, he's got to get in. That gateway finally does get biled down, killed, not canceled, so no mineral refund right now for Classic. He's going to cancel the Shade with these Adepts, just fighting the Ravagers and the Lings on the backside. The DT almost done. The Shrine is nearly complete. We have enough gas for 2 DTs to get warped in. Almost enough for a 3rd one. He's even blocking the Lings with the DTs in this little choke point, and now there is a timer, but this is SHIN's time to get economic damage done.
Yeah, the question is how many probes can he get before the DTs eventually clean up all of this? Right now it's a lot. Already 20 goes down. Big bios as well. This is such a weird game right now. The probes evacuate the natural, come back to the main where the DTs are. But I think SHIN might be doing it here. There's not many workers left. This production going to be unpowered state.
Oh man, only one pylon powering the production right now for Classic because he's trying to get another one set up here in the main base. Just 2 gates in total, but honestly, even if he had more gateways up, he can't produce anything. He's right now down to 8 workers. 7 workers in total. SHIN, I think, somehow has done this despite taking so much economic damage of that gold base early. Classic, he pivoted the build maybe a little bit too much to try and stop that gold base with 4-gate Glaive Adept.
Yeah, I think he'd done the damage in the beginning, and he should be looking for a counterpunch, especially on this map. 33 probes go down. Classic's in here on 7 workers, but he's not giving up. He does have the Invisible Man. SHIN, though, is making spores at home, so there's no kind of counter threat potential there if he has units there as well, and Classic can't even leave in his base right now because everything will simply die.
You start with 12 workers in Legacy of the Void, by the way. This is
less than you started
Classic
with.
right now is starting from Wings of Liberty.
Right.
This is and SHIN has the gold base in the top left, by the way.
Yeah, he does have some more drones there now. He's up to 28 of his own, so he's got a almost 2-base economy going here. He's taking more gases. He's getting a layer, so he has mobile detection in the form of overseers. He's doing everything right at this moment.
I don't mean to be anti-hype, but Classic has a couple of minutes before he can actually afford to start making units out of these gateways, because he just needs to probe up right now. You see his mineral income coming in. What is he spending it on? He's spending it on probes, and he's barely able to sustain probe production. He's going to try and find some damage, but eco-wise, SHIN is just dwarfing him. Triple the mineral income coming in. Classic not even mining any gas just yet, only just now saturating one of these Vespene geysers. The question of who's going to win this game, I feel like, has already been determined, more or less, because the lair is done here for SHIN. Roaches are in production, speed is done, but Classic are already in RSL. He's played a couple of games where he's basically dead just like this.
Yep. He
has maybe less than 1% chance of winning the game, but he sticks with it anyway to make his opponent go through the paces. He did this versus Zaun in a PvP, and basically made it feel like Zaun in a game where if Classic had just tapped out, it'd be like, oh yeah, I did it. I had a really good win versus Classic. I'm back in this series. It kind of felt like a Pyrrhic victory, you know? He's victorious, but it was way harder than it should have been, given how down and out Classic was in that game. And I feel like this is almost a mental exercise that Classic is doing versus SHIN right now here in game number 3, because SHIN is miles ahead from Classic, but if Classic can just make this very difficult for him, if he can make it take a couple more minutes for SHIN actually to close it out, that will help him win a game number 4 and a game number 5.
Yeah, he definitely makes his opponent work for it, tries to exhaust them as much as possible, but this is so much Road Ravager right now. I mean, the Rhine's kind of on the wall here. The core will go down first. He's going to... I don't even think he can come out and fight this right now. He'll just instantly lose all his expensive units if they move away from that shield battery. But what can you do? SHIN has the much better economy and the better army. He's got his detection. He's, what do you say, dotted all his I's and crossed all his T's in this game. Playing very well. And once these buildings go down, there'll be nothing left to stop the Zerg onslaught.
Yeah, Classic's going to make it as difficult as possible, though, for SHIN to close this one out as SHIN slowly chips away at the wall, and even a couple of force fields there, able to catch one of these roaches. It's a nice move by Classic, but, oh man, with even more units reinforcing here for SHIN, 6 more roaches in production, make that 7, and a Spire.
Yeah,
time is running out.
That almost feels like overkill, but that's just his guaranteed way to end this game.
Dude.
If Classic somehow hangs on here.
Classic is nuts, honestly. He was down to 8 probes versus a SHIN who had a gold base, and look at how hard he is making this for SHIN to actually close things out. There is no question that SHIN is going to win this game. It's like a 99-1 odds in the advantage right now of SHIN. But this is what Classic does. He's been doing this throughout RSL Season 3. If his opponent is winning, he will make it as hard as possible for them to finally seal the deal. And you got to be wondering here as SHIN, it's like, you know you've killed basically every single worker. You know that Classic was down to 6, 7, 8 probes. It's got to feel kind of bad to take another 5 or 6 minutes to actually close it out.
Yeah, I guess it all depends on your mentality, right? Maybe he's enjoying it. Like, oh, you're dead, but I get to torture you for a while. That's pretty sweet. I'm down with that. But he's in such a commanded position here. I think once the mutas come out, that will be the final death knell in this game. He's got everything. He's got +1 flyers. He's got +1 range on the way. Spine Spore at the bases so the DTs can't slip by. He's just, and Classic's just sitting here on 2 bases, only now taking his first gas at the natural.
Yeah, only just now researching Blink. He's going to throw down a Stargate as well. I wonder if he's anticipating a muta transition coming in, but even if you proactively make Phoenix here as Classic, it's going to be hard to keep up with a 4-base eco of SHIN with that gold base in the top left as well.
Yeah, for sure. SHIN's actually been joining up as well. He didn't like all in, you know, all or nothing, try to break the natural. He's been pressuring, taking out buildings because he has the army to do so, but he's macroed behind this very well. And the question is, what is Classic going to do when these mutas fly into the main? He's got 2 Stargates on the way. If he could get a couple Phoenixes out, you know, he might be able to fend them off, but they're way too early for that. Probes start to fall here. Classic didn't have many to begin, and he's going to have even fewer afterwards.
He's got just about enough to saturate the 2 bases that he's on right now, but these are blinkless stalkers trying to parry the harassment here of SHIN. Luckily for Classic, there's a lot of shield batteries in the natural expansion, so
True.
The mutas probably won't be able to get too much done. But realistically, how do you take a 3rd base from this position here as Protoss? It's so difficult.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't think you do. If you ever do, Shin's probably just going to send it, that will probably be the trigger he's looking for. Until then, he'll be happy to try and pick off workers with these mutas, trade out stalkers for mutas because his economy is so much better. He's up to 64 workers now. There's basically no way he can lose this unless he somehow like loses all the mutas for nothing to Phoenix, or I'm trying to find a way, but you know what I mean?
Hey, you're like Doctor Strange. You're going through all the possible realities. Like, surely there's one Classic wins,
one
but
future.
I don't think that future is what we're living in right now. Classic, he is going to try and take the best fight he possibly can. These 3 Phoenix being microed with his 3 shield batteries as well, getting some pretty good damage on the mutas, but there's just so much Roach Ravager here on the ground for Shin. He's pushing through into the natural expansion. More probes are following. The Phoenix micro has been so on point, but just look at the supplies right now. 174 to 46. GG is called, but that was a game where Classic was down to 8 probes versus a 2-base Zerg who had a gold expansion, and he made that game last another like 10 minutes.
Yeah, he was dead the whole time, but like you were saying, for Shin, that can be draining, that can be exhausting.
It's a mental game.
Yeah, it does stress you out having to play for, like, why is this guy not leaving?
Yeah,
does he have something?
I guarantee you that win feels a lot less confidence building than it would have had Classic just tapped out the moment that the probes go down to 8,
Right,
So
yeah.
for Classic, he's playing the long game right now. I think he knew as well as anybody that you're probably not coming back from 8 probes, but you might as well try. So respect for him for doing that. But as it is, Shin, 1 map win away from knocking out the back-to-back RSL champion and facing Maru in the penultimate match.
Yeah, indeed. I love the strategy he chose on that map there. Evil Heart, such an aggressive map with a short rush distance. Takes the gold base, says, I'm going to have an amazing economy, which I'm going to use to all in you. Like very early in the game. Good strategy choice. Obviously, a Roach all-in pairs up excellently against an Adept attack. Roach is so good against Adepts, and the DTs didn't get online early enough to shut that down, and the economic damage was just insane.
Yeah, not going for Stargate's really painful there for Classic.
Yeah,
but
if you have like a Void Ray.
Yeah, absolutely. But if Shin had just tried to go for a macro play, what Classic was doing was going to be spectacular.
True.
You have 4 gates. I think it might have even been Glaveless Adepts. It's hard to tell with that timing on Evil Heart what the plan actually is going to be there from Classic. But in any case, Shin just able to catch Classic basically with his pants down. The Adepts leave the natural expansion right into the arms of a ton of waiting Lings and Roaches and Ravagers, and that is Shin going to a Game 3 victory, now up 2-1 in this best of 5. Can he close it out, or will Classic force another Game 5?
We're going to have to find out. The map here will be Winter Madness. In the top left, we have Shin as the red Zerg, and in the bottom right, it's Classic as the blue Protoss. And this is the time for no more wild builds, you know what I mean? No more crazy timing attacks. I think this is where Classic goes back to his bread and butter, the macro builds. Not that he couldn't do like a 3-base Adept Pressure or something, but I don't think we'll see anything too crazy from him in this game. That's just my read, but you know, who knows? Maybe that's what Shin expects, so then you all in. I don't know.
No, I agree with you just because the map is so good for a defensive Protoss setup on 3 bases.
True.
But Classic has been varying his gameplay a lot more in this patch than the previous one, just because it seems like he has a little bit less confidence in the Storm tech. Very quick up. Now, after there was the brief moment, I think it was a week or 2 before we had what was called a hotfix, but really was just an adjustment to the initial ballot patch coming in by Blizzard a couple of weeks ago, and during that window, Storm was absolutely ridiculous. The damage output was absolutely insane, and what we saw from Classic during that window was some of the most aggressive teching and expanding that I think we have ever seen in PvZ. And unfortunately, with such a small span, we didn't really get to see too much of it, but he was taking 4-5 bases by like 6 minutes, going straight into Carrier just on the back of static defense and Storm. He was really gearing up for a massive Storm-based playstyle, and now after we had Blizzard back it up a little bit with the Storm rebalancing, you see a lot more variance in the gameplay. We had him in PvZs versus Raynor earlier on in the tournament. You see him going for Charge Zealot play. Even here on Winter Madness, he went straight into, 3-base charge before going for any other tech. He's played a little bit more out of the box than you would expect from Classic, who, even though he does have a wide range, for the longest time was just known as the GOAT PvZ defensive player. I mean, it was like basically 2 years running for him.
Yeah, indeed. And I like that you mentioned that patch where Storm was super strong. That just happened to be when RSL was.
Yeah.
So he was doing that all the time to great success. Very strong in that style. This probe going to be annoying as possible. Even drop a pylon there just to lay the third for as long as possible. And the Adept actually gets over. Oh, one hit away from taking out that drone. That would have been huge.
Yeah, if the Adept was a little bit closer, could have even body blocked the hatchery going down. Love to see this play coming in from Classic. Unfortunately, SHIN just a little bit too quick with the hatchery placement there on the third, as the Adept's just going to go right into the natural expansion. Good wall off by SHIN to block it. And actually, the drones coming into fight. One of them is going to fall here to the Adept. Can he get a second one? No, the body block comes through. Oh, man. SHIN only losing one drone.
Yeah, very good defense by there. Somehow it still doesn't feel great for SHIN to have to do all of that and, you know, almost get your third delayed and that kind of thing. But he does get a Ling here into the main base. That is a big plus for him. He will see the Stargate. He'll see the second unit. Potentially, okay, yeah, he'll see the second unit is going to be another Oracle. I guess he doesn't know the first one's an Oracle until this Overlord confirms it. But he'll see the follow-up as a second Oracle now. And that's some good information for him. His Spore Crawlers are on the way and should be up in time. Even checks the natural once more. If you get a probe, beautiful. No,
yeah, this Adept needs to get fired.
Classic! Okay, only one goes down.
Adept's just chilling there in natural expansion. Almost 2 probes lost. Instead, it's only going to be 1 there for Classic as he is getting ready to take the third base a little bit later than you normally would expect. We're going for Twilight Cancel before third Nexus. And I wonder what that's going to mean here for Classic. Usually want to get the Nexus like 30 seconds faster or so here for Protoss, but Tech first instead.
Yeah, this kind of makes me think we might be looking at one of those charge builds we've been seeing. I mean, he is adding on 2 more gases right now. We do have the Forge on the way for +1. These Oracles just flying through all of these Queens. Still going to get 4 drones and get out, even a 5th one going down there. This is some good damage from Classic.
That's a lot of damage coming in. It will still be Blink here by Classic, and I wonder if this will be a Blink timing attack just because it's going to be finishing a little bit faster than it normally would.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be some aggressive potential here. We'll have to see if he follows up with a quick storm or if he tries to proxy a gateway on the map. Right now, 5 Adepts, or even a 6th one there, moving out. Going to force SHIN to make some units that he doesn't necessarily want to make. Although right now he's droning hard. He does have a handful of Lings here. Maybe with the Queens that's enough. You might want a few more. These Adepts will start to shade into the natural. Now, if they can get a good position behind the mineral line, this is going to be tough to deal with. Yeah, a few more units going to be necessary hit for SHIN. Even a Stasis Trap going down.
Yeah, Stasis Trap going down almost caught those 3 Queens, but SHIN was able to pull back in time. Unfortunately, did not have the energy to transfuse one of those Queens, and the Spore Crawler actually getting a kill right there on an Oracle. These Adepts are surrounded now here in the natural expansion, going up against the precipice to try and mitigate the splash damage. They are going to shade into the main base where there is nothing to defend, so a lot more drone damage going to be found. Meanwhile, Classic adding in a couple more gateways, but also a second Stargate and a fleet beacon.
Wow, okay, so it's going to be Stalkers, probably just the minimum amount necessary to hold that third, and then straight into these capital ships here from Classic. We have seen this before. I think he did this, was it against SHIN earlier on?
It might have been.
I think it was against SHIN, and SHIN lost that game with the Hydraling Bane timing, right? Something like that. But yeah, I like what Classic is going for here. If SHIN doesn't identify that early on and he attacks with, you know, Hydraling Bane without an Overseer, for example, I think that's what happened in the one game I'm thinking of. You can suddenly be caught unaware, but we actually see the Hydroden and the Infestation Pit, so probably looking to play Lurkers here in a later game.
And this is a playstyle that we also saw Zound showcase a little bit here, where you just skip Storm entirely, you go for a faster Mothership, and you go for faster carriers instead of getting that splash damage, because it's more about just having an army on the field that can do battle consistently, as opposed to having to rely on the Storm as a zoning tool in the early game.
Yeah, indeed. First 2 carriers on the way. This Overseer comes in at a good time, sees them whilst they're in production. Very good scout there by SHIN. So that gives him the information he needs to form his battle plan here.
Yeah, and it's interesting to me that we see the Templar Archives go down before the Mothership, so seems like Classic will want to work in Storm a little bit more quickly than he might expect with this fast carrier transition. The 4th Nexus is now coming in, and for SHIN, he's sitting at 70 drones right now. I'm not expecting to see too many more for a while. I think he's going to try and get some damage done, and yep, there it is. A Nidus Canal going in. 4 more Queens in production, so Hydra Queen Nidus with, I'm sure, a ton of Lings accompanying it.
Yeah, indeed. And he's going to try and hit at this point before the carrier number gets out of control, right? Once the Protoss gets up to 6 or even more, it can be really hard to engage.
SHIN was making an infestation pit earlier, and he canceled it, and he's starting it again. I think he's trying to trick Classic into thinking that he's going for something else. You know, there's a chance that maybe with Revelation, he's going to be able to scout after casting Revelation on the drones, the infestation pit once more, and Classic's like, oh, infestation pit. You're going for infestors, you're going for Hive, you're going for a later game, but that's not what's happening. This is SHIN just trying to throw a little bit of bad information Classic's way so that he is not ready and not expecting a Nidus swarm like this one at the junction between the 3rd and the 4th base, but Classic, it looks like he is in a very good position to deal with this. He's got a lot of carriers. 2 more are about to pop. Storm about halfway done as SHIN is leapfrogging with this Nidus network forward.
Oh my god, this is so many Queens and Hydras, though. They can actually fight the Interceptors directly. They don't necessarily need to get on top of the carriers and take them out. There's just not that many Interceptors right now. And once those go down, there's nothing but Blink Stalkers, which Hydras will absolutely eat. The one thing is, going for him, though, is this static D with these, cannons and shield batteries.
His static defense at the 4th base, but not really a lot here at the 3rd. The natural expansion also exposed. The entire mineral line gets wiped out by a Ling. A run by a carrier is going to try and deal with that. But as you said, there's very few interceptors. There's only 3 right now. Between these 3 carriers, as another storm is going to come in. Some nice damage on the Hydras, but the main body here of the Zerg army is so healthy right now. We have a couple Queens in the orange, but the Hydra's mostly in the green as the 3rd base falls. 31 drones going down here for Classic. Oh man, I think SHIN is very close to a 3-1 victory. Classic is going to try hold on right now with the 3rd. The static defense carrying a lot of weight, that photon cannon and shield battery, but is he going to have enough to hold on?
It looks like he might. He still has a couple transfuses left. Here comes the next wave of Hydras. Going to be able to help out, take out that Archon. No Interceptors, only what he can make as this fight goes on, and that's too much. Classic calls GG, and SHIN moves on 3-1 in our first best of 5 here.
Wow, what a series by SHIN. Some really creative builds. We had the gold base on Evil Heart, which Classic did not expect. He also did not expect the follow-up to that one. And then just feeding bad information here in game number 4. Galaxy
That
Braid.
was super smart. I like that you called that, by the way. Making the infestation pit. Do you see it? No? Okay, I'll cancel it and I'll make it again where you are looking. And yeah, Classic obviously had the misread on where that game was heading. And then SHIN hits with a super quick Nidus, Queen, Hydra timing. What a game.
That was just awesome coming in from SHIN. And you saw basically in every single game, it was either a hatch tech timing or a lair tech timing.
Yeah.
But he played every single game aggressively in a different way. You're never just going to build up to try and defend one sort of push there as Classic.
Right.
There's this whole plethora of strategies that SHIN has in his back pocket in ZVP. And let me tell you, if he is able to take down Maru here in the losers final, Hero might have a hard time with him in PvZ because, my goodness, did SHIN look good versus Classic.
Yeah, SHIN's PvZ looks amazing right now, but his record versus Maru is not so hot as we've seen in the past.
Yeah.
I believe, what is it in total sets is something...
28-0 in the advantage of Maru. Just to put that in perspective to you guys, Maru and SHIN have been playing against each other since I think 2013 or 2014, if my memory serves, and SHIN has never won a series that was best of 3 or longer, which is outrageous. I can't think of any player versus player matchup in StarCraft II that comes close to this, but if SHIN could break it here in RSL Season 3, I mean, you got to be rooting for him in that case, right? To get this monkey off his back, to finally have a victory versus Maru would be so huge for this guy.
Yeah, that would do a lot for his mental game as well. Maybe he has just a mental block against Maru because I think he's definitely capable of beating him. He is good enough. Maru is in amazing form right now, though, we gotta say. He did fall to Hero, but that series was very intense and went the whole distance. I cannot wait for this next series.
Yeah, it's going to be an epic best of 7. And guys, these players, they're fighting for a spot in the RSL offline finals in December 13th and 14th. But you can purchase your spot by going to TaserThreads.com and picking up some tickets to the offline finals. It's going to be me, Sturgeon, Tasteless, all the good RSL folks there casting. We're going to have a live audience. We're going to have the players there. Gemini looks so insulted right now.
How are you going to leave him out like that? All the good folks, me, Stay, and Tasteless.
I wanted to see if he was listening. Oh, he's walking out of the studio right now. Folks, get your tickets. TastelessThreads.com. $30 for the regular tickets. If you want some backstage access, you can get the premium ticket for $150. I'm sorry, Gemini. You know we love you, but we would love to see you guys there at the big place in Seoul, Korea. It's going to be such a blast. Anyway, folks, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, a best of 7 series between Maru and SHIN. We'll see you soon.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It is Tasteless and Gemini now, giving you this next match here in the RSL. And this should be a good one. We've got Maru going up here against SHIN. This is what I think Maru should take, right?
Yeah, definitely history would say that.
Yeah, exactly.
SHIN has been, this has been basically his Achilles heel in the entirety of his career. He hasn't beaten him in a best of 3+ ever. It's insane.
Yeah, so it's going to be a tough one. Let's see what happens. This is a best of 7 that we're going to be going into here. But I've got to say, SHIN has had quite the run. If there was a Zerg player that was going to be here, I would have guessed probably Raynor, right? Yeah. Since he's been on a tear the last couple years. But either way, the winner of this will go up against Hero in the grand finals. Now, if you're watching the VOD, that'll be in the next video. If you're watching this live, that is later tonight. We're putting these 2 days together.
Yep, it's going to be 2 great series back-to-back, and then, of course, whoever comes from that lower bracket, if they win that best of 7, then it's a best of 3 reset as well, which will be really cool if we can get that whole series going. But first, it's going to be Maru versus SHIN coming up, starting off on Mothership as well, and then right into Evil Heart, a fairly interesting set of maps here to start us off.
I think I have the same air conditioner in my stream room as Maru.
You do, I think, yes.
I think that's the same air conditioner.
Yeah, it's literally the same one.
Now, here's the thing. I can't stutter step micro like him, so that doesn't make any sense, but it looks like it's the same air conditioner.
Okay, it's cool. So he's got the air conditioner, but do you have the bookshelf full of, 50 different trophies behind you? That's the question.
I have a bookshelf, and there are no trophies.
I think we found the determining factor.
All right. Well, I got to go to the trophy shop and buy some right away. That's how I'm going to be as good as Maru. Guys, this best of 7 is starting now. Maru versus SHIN. Again, the winner goes up against Hero here in the grand finals of the RSL. Maru here in the top left and SHIN in the top right.
Yeah, Mothership is going to be a great map to start this off on, a nice 3-player map. The only 3-player map that we have right now, and it's already had some very cool games so far throughout the season. It's been very fun to see this kind of map come back into the rotation after years and years of just only 2-player maps being in the pro player pool. So I want to see exactly what they're got planned for this map. There's been some very greedy builds that we've been seeing sometimes with CC or Nexus first builds and stuff like that. So lots of interesting options.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun one. Now I'm curious what kind of Maru we're going to see today. He's been at times super cheesy versus Zerg, but he's also kind of the king of the exhaust play that we've seen a lot of. He seems to be not just, by the way, doing it versus Zerg. He did it versus Protoss just the other day. But yeah, I want to see, exactly what he wants to bring here, because we've had a couple patches. I think the biggest but the biggest reaction the patch got was mostly about Storm, but there were other alterations to the other races. I don't think it's been as much in the discussion, but yeah, let's see what TVZ looks like, because I think to this day, Maru is still kind of the leader in thought for TVZ.
Yeah, I think the biggest change that everyone kind of expected to be a bit more dominant than what we've really seen so far is the Microbial Shroud change, making it basically like a pseudo Dark Swarm ability where it limits 50% of all range damage, and it's not really found a place overall. It seemed like maybe at first when the patch hit it, there might be some kind of interesting Infestor Ultra Ling styles that were benefiting from it, but nothing really caught too much compared to some of the other styles, so that's something that maybe we'll see in this series. SHIN might be trying to reach into the bag of tricks. He might be bringing out some Mutiling Bane, because Mutas have become a little bit more popular again as well since the patch, so a lot more interesting things can definitely still arise because of the interesting changes.
Yeah, we've got the first Reaper out here, going to chip away at these Lings. Probably won't be too much happening here as the Queen's about to hatch out. And really impeccable control here by Shin. I mean, he's not going to lose a single thing. And the Reaper actually ends up getting cornered. Looks like it bounced off that little circular thing and was killed off. So Maru, meanwhile, has actually thrown down 2 command centers and is powering up.
Yeah, he's going to be going for that fast 3rd CC into 2 extra barracks as well, so a full 3 racks follow-up to the 3 CC. Going to be powering up as many units as possible. Whereas, I mean, Shin is going to be playing it pretty standard so far, it looks like, although he hasn't gotten a 3rd base just yet. We'll see if he wants to, of course, eventually get that, because that's pretty much a staple. But no, it looks like he's going straight into a fast lair with some extra gas being mined as well. So this could be something very interesting. We could be seeing some Ling Nidus play. We could be seeing some of that 2-base Muta that could be coming out, getting an extra gas as well. So both players going a bit polar opposites in terms of their build choices.
Yeah, the Muta play would be exciting to see here. For now, it's going to be a quiet game. There's not going to be a lot that's going to go down here because the development is picking up here for Maru. So it doesn't make sense for him to attack or move out or really do anything. And, I guess that, one of the questions would be how soon can he actually land that 3rd command center? Even if it's inside your main, you're still going to be dropping mules. You're going to be making SCVs with it. But, yeah, I would imagine if the Zerg is also attacking heavily, you could probably land it pretty quickly if you can confirm what they're doing, right?
Yeah, and also it's kind of interesting. I'm just kind of thinking about this. Since the Reaper died, it's going to make it much more difficult. And there is that Muta coming in as well with the Baneling Nest. I wonder if Shin alterated what he was going to be doing because the Reaper died. Because obviously it makes it much more difficult with the Reaper dead to actually scout something like this. Or maybe he was just planning on doing this from the start anyways. I'm not entirely sure. But the fact that Reaper is gone means that Maru is going to have very limited information on the type of build that Shin's going to be going for. So this Muta play might catch him off guard if he's not totally prepared for it.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's almost forgettable that Reaper was killed off early on. But you really don't have any way to check unless you were to basically sacrifice a mule with a scan here. And then again, this may be just a kind of predictable way to play the game. We're still unpacking the meta in each of the matchups in the new patch. We've got a slow amount of Marines moving out here, and is that a mistake? How did he end up getting those split? You got to be really careful when you move out without medevacs.
Yeah,
because
some of the maps, they just the paths just force your units to split every now and then. It's kind of annoying.
Yeah, that's a bit painful. The reason why I was bringing it up is if you could. Oh, hold on a second. Is he going to actually commit here? I kind of thought he was going to go halfway across the map and then run back, kind of forcing out Lings. But instead, he's going to scan. He's going to kill that Overlord off. But I think there's no way for these Marines to get back home. So now that he's this far out, he has to do damage with it. And I don't see how that's going to work with Lings and Banelings out here.
Yeah, this is a lot from Shin, already prepared. I don't know if Maru was fully expecting this many units. He's going to get all of his Marines surrounded by the Lings. Banelings getting the connections as well. Every single Marine dying for basically just a few Banelings is not really a trade you're looking for as Maru. He killed a couple Creep Doomers and an Overlord, and then killed some Zerglings. Like that, I can't quite say that is the best trade, especially when you're going against someone that's about to have Mutas coming across the map with little anti-air to defend.
That was so bad. I mean, that's just crazy how poorly that went. Now the Lings are going to come in here again. And, I mean, now Shin's going to win this fight because things are just beginning to snowball here.
Did the game just end?
I feel like
Maru about to die?
We're close to that possibly happening. I mean, that there's plenty more Mutas and Lings that can go up here and hit this now. The 3rd CC has to lift off. This may be one of the most catastrophic games of the RSL. And, I think a pretty questionable move here by Maru. That blew up in his face. He did a blind, medevac-less combat shield Marine push, only to lose them to Lings. There's already been 18 SCVs killed off here. I think he can actually break this open if he just maybe split the damage a little bit more. It looks like that will be the saving grace, is the repair on the depot. I can't believe this game looks the way it does right now.
Yeah, this is going to be a bit of a mountain for Maru to try to climb to get back into this game. Shin is probably going to just continue on with the tempo aggression as well. He's still making more Mutas, more Lings. He's only sitting here at 66 drones. He doesn't need an insane amount at this point, as he's just kind of taking the 4th base slowly and then getting into the more aggressive options with these Mutas, since that is the style that he has opted into. And for now, Maru, I think, will be able to stabilize just a little bit. He was able to get a few more Marines out, so it's going to be more difficult for the Mutas to just full-on engage them like they were initially. But the opening that this has given SHIN is an excellent start to this best of 7.
Yeah, well, this is about as good of a position as you could ask to be in. Now, one thing about Maru is he's really tenacious. He is, I think, probably one of the best players in the world at when he's behind, kind of being unfazed and just powering through it and ending up ahead just based off his raw mechanical skill. But even with that, I mean, it's hard to imagine him recovering from the damage he already took. I mean, and it's also just a funny-looking game because you never really see Maru make a bad call like that.
Yeah. And I think that just kind of goes back to the Reaper dying because he just kind of went into that blindly. Oh my god, the Widowmine's hidden! Not where SHIN was expecting, neither what I was expecting. I didn't even see them there get massive hits on the Mutas. Okay, so again, you were saying it is Maru. He's very tenacious. We've seen him already make an incredible comeback in one of the series from yesterday. We cannot count him out when we should not do that. So maybe we were being a little bit overzealous there.
I mean, that
a
was
couple more moves like that, maybe we start to talk about this.
Yeah, well, I mean, double Widowmines over there to just hit those Mutas so hard. And, I mean, that punish is kind of crazy. Mutas will recover their HP fairly fast, but, that was a painful moment there for sure. Now Maru's got his third base up. He's looking like he's in pretty good shape. SHIN is expanding all the way at the very bottom of the map in that other spawn location.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. You don't really see that very often.
It's like a Brood War expand.
I was just thinking the exact same thing.
Yeah, where you go,
Where's the Nidus canal to connect those?
Yeah, right. He needs 1 or 2 lurkers at that ramp so the Marines can't get up and he'll be fine. Yeah, that's a very unusual place to expand to, but I guess why not, right? I mean, Terran is probably going to be landing a lot more mules and spending a lot less scans because they're already behind. And, it's hard to get anything down there, especially with the vision that SHIN already has on the map.
And also, it's such a big map too. Like you don't play on 3-player maps very often these days, so it's just something that maybe the opponent's going to overlook. You just don't really think they're going to do it because why would they? And SHIN is going to take that gamble and potentially get a nice economic lead from that with a base that won't be scouted for a long time. And it doesn't seem like Maru's going to be going for it. Instead, just going to be trying to poke away at these Mutas wherever they do pop their heads, and then eventually find a spot where he can push across the map. Since he has accrued a fairly large army, SHIN isn't going to let that go unpunished, though, as he's going to try to send some Lings into the counterattack as well to keep Maru pinned back for as long as possible, so that way he can always regain his forces and get more on the actual engage.
So Maru's about to max out. SHIN already has. Both these are high burst damage armies, so this is going to be kind of a crazy fight.
Yeah.
It almost looked like they're going to just meet in the middle of the map here. I feel like someone's got to be wrong when you both... I mean, out here come the Lings and the Banes now. And I mean, so far, God, it's unreal how much Maru has here. The camera keeps panning and there's just more and more army. I thought SHIN was going to maybe take that fight. This is a bad spot to morph Banes if Terran can pounce in here.
Yeah, that was a little bit risky, but it looks like Maru doesn't want to fully go in there, doesn't know exactly how many units might be coming on the reinforce. A couple lurkers also now getting into the mix as this Hydra transition is fully in effect from SHIN. The Mutas are no longer really a factor anymore. They're just going to be doing a little bit more poking damage if they're still alive. I'm not sure where they are, actually. Nice Widowmine shot to deny that run by as well.
Those are the 2 Widowmines that hit the Mutas earlier.
Oh my god, they're just absolutely sick.
So... look, Maru, I think he's still okay. Remember that whenever you see Hydra Bane, it's like the first couple of fights that are the most important because you're spending so much gas to create this. So you really need to see those fights go well for Zerg if they're going to then be able to push across. Now, Maru fractioned off part of his army, and he's going to go ahead and clean up the bottom here. I don't know if he knows about the 6 o'clock base, but he does know about this one that he's fighting right now.
Yeah, I wonder if this will kind of key him into the idea that there might be more on the bottom. It doesn't seem like it just yet. It really feels like this base is just going to go unscouted. Oh, no, it was almost going to go unscouted, but then he finally finds these drones walking across the map. That's so unlucky. He definitely should know now. At least this army will get cleared up since the main army from SHIN is going to respond, but Maru has now known that there is something down here, and he's going to be able to potentially aggress that later. He's actually bringing the rest of his army down to the minimap as well.
Yeah, and I don't know that Ragnarok's going to be able to defend this. The Banes are going to come out here. It's going to be up to Maru to stutter step micro through this. In fact, he doesn't even need to do that. He just sort of ate the shots from the Banes and just pushed forward anyways. I actually think Maru might just win this game in a second here. Oh, hold on. We're missing something. There's a counterattack at the top.
Oh my god, Lurkers actually
Yeah.
just running their way into the bases at the front. That's a quite bold move from Shin, but honestly something that he needs to have happen right now because he's just lost these 2 bases on the bottom and a large portion of his army trying to defend them. Still going to be able to actually defend this base down here. He's got a few more units. Maru didn't leave too much there, but the Lurkers over on the left side will get cleared out, and now Shin is going to be stuck on what looks like only 3 bases.
Yeah, I mean, he's got that bottom base still, but it's barely... Oh, no, actually, he's got a lot
wow, okay,
more.
yeah.
I actually thought this was kind of empty.
I also
drones.
did too. Okay,
yeah.
Scratch
so,
that a little bit.
So he's actually in better shape, but I don't know that that base could be saved. You know, one thing about Terran is they can kind of be forced to lift off a couple times, that it's way less bad than it is if, like, a hatchery's exploded. So, yeah, let's see what happens. I mean, the link counterattacks are looking good. This is actually, not a planetary over here, so this is going to be something that, especially if Terran's going to be on the map, it's harder to defend.
Yeah, this Ling run by is run its course. It's going to have to go ahead and get back home as the rest of the bio from Maru has arrived, killing off a Lurker as well. Keeping those in as low number as possible is going to be a key for Maru to find this victory. He's done an excellent job of bringing this game back ever since those 2 Widow Mines hit the mutas. It feels like he's just kind of been on a little bit of an upwards trajectory in this game after that incredible early flop that he had. But for now, I mean, Shin is the one that's trying to scramble around, get a couple extra bases. He's getting this top base now. The one on the bottom still is saturated. But now, look at that. It's the Brood War tactic. He's just got the Lurkers at the top of the ramp. There you go.
This is such a funny game, and there's just so many little Brood War elements happening in this SC2 match. Now, he does really great splitting here. He needs to scan again. Okay, or you can just kill the hatchery, however you want to do it, man. So he gets that, he gets out. He actually didn't lose anywhere near as much as I thought he would. And the problem is like, for Shin, he's basically even on expansions now. He's just now going to transfer drones to this fresh base. And that's a little too close for this matchup. So we'll see what he can do to recover. You can see all those drones at the bottom are not mining, and they're not going to be sent anywhere else because the map isn't safe. Map control definitely going to Maru here. And with the even supplies, I think that there's going to be room for Maru to probably try to close the game up. But we'll see. We'll see if he overextends or takes a bad fight.
Yeah, he's going to be able to kill off this frontal base as well. A couple random Lurkers still getting picked off here and there. Shin, a large part of his just entire network is on that bottom base trying to get that set up yet again. There's a couple Lurkers sitting there too, a Viper, like you said, a bunch of the drones that are available to Shin are just sitting here idle, so they're not actually contributing to Shin's economy right now. You can even see on the bottom the amount of income differential here is much in the favor of Maru in these last couple of minutes, and so everything is trending upwards. Even finding a random Viper just going across the map, it seems like Maru is king at just finding all these little picks here and there. He's even going to try to come right back up into this base, kill off all these Lurkers, and potentially just wipe this base yet again.
How did he split that like it was an AI?
Yeah, that was just insane.
They both went perfectly in opposite directions. You're not supposed to be able to get up a ramp that easily versus that many Lurkers.
That's the
whole idea is it's like, no, there's so many different angles all hitting one spot. But anyways, he does it. And I honestly feel like that base at the bottom was probably one of the only things that Zerg had going for him.
Yep.
Now the other bases are very strikeable here for Maru, who is now, by the way, taking another base here in the center left.
All right, we got a couple ghosts also joining the fray here. This looks like Maru isn't quite ready for this attack, but still is able to back up nice and cleanly. Shin engaging off of creep is going to be very risky. His creep spread in the middle of the map is not quite there, so it's going to be hard for him to actually get anything. A Nidostorm is going up over there. We'll see if anything can come out. A couple of the Lurkers, but there's not really anything to actually deny. He could, I guess, get the Ghost Academy could be decent, but a scan and a couple of ghosts should be able to snipe those away and force them off, so that's a nice defense for Maru as well. And it feels like all these little attempts that Shin is trying to make to just get any sort of any sort of advantage in this game again isn't quite working out too well, other than a CC lift.
No, it's looking pretty bad for Shin here, and I don't think there's any easy bases to take anymore. Any other base he takes is really quite close to where Maru can push into. I almost feel like the game is kind of laid out here for Maru, where he's just going to basically look and wait for the Zerg to inevitably expand because they have to. They've got to try to stay ahead of the Terran and bases. And then he just, like this base here, this is easily the most attackable base, so he just does like a perfect spread. There's ghosts here in the back.
how do you even engage into this as Shin, man? This is insane. The split is so good. There's still a large amount of ghosts that could be throwing down snipes. You can see the Banelings trying to get onto that backline of ghosts, but the splits are so good from Maru. But the rest of the Hydra is still in the back end. We're able to deal with a good amount of the bio at the front. A large amount of Maru's army is actually medevacs, so that's going to be a little bit deceiving on the army supply count. And now we've even got a forward Nidus to try and reinforce more quickly. Was that actually an overextension from Maru? It seemed at first it was going to be a great fight, but now Shin has actually got some position on the map.
And Shin's going to basically try to have the strongest counterpunch imaginable and just try to push through here. I'm not sure if it's going to work. I don't see a ton of infantry, though, here from Maru right now. He's definitely going to take out the Planetary.
Yeah, the Planetary getting killed off is a great win for him. A couple Banelings connecting onto some Ghosts in the backline as well. The supplies for both these players are getting so dangerously low at this point. 13 more SCVs are getting killed off, which means Shin will actually have the eco lead again, despite everything that's happened in this game. And Maru, he's got a massive army again, though, for the counterattack. So while Shin was able to do a good amount of damage in that counterattack, now Maru, I feel like, is going to have a bit more tempo going towards his side to potentially try to end this game once and for all.
You know, it's funny, like, I really like what Shin did there, but I don't think it's enough for him to recover. Like, I think it's a good idea, and I like how quickly he did it, but this next counterattack is going to be another tough one to deal with. Remember that a lot of times when the Zerg's actually holding these attacks off, it's because there's a ton of Banelings in the mix. And I don't see any Banelings right now in this army.
Instead, we're going to go for a flanking lurker maneuver on the backside. Maru split up just a little bit, a couple of the Liberators getting killed off, but the army size for Maru continues to be extremely large, and this entire time he's also had the 3-3 upgrade advantage. Shin, during all of this, has basically been forced to cut that 3-3 upgrade, but it's been sitting on 2-2 with one of the Carapace on 3 as well. But it seems like for now, Maru is going to be having that upgrade lead, and he's just going to take that. And honestly, Shin just completely starved out towards the end of that. You can see he just was trying to find anything to get any sort of engagement, but it just wasn't really working. He's like, all right, I don't want to deal with this anymore. Let's go to game number 2.
Yeah, I mean, it's insane to think that that game started with Maru doing one of maybe the worst moves possible.
Yeah.
Like a blind, slow marine push. And I kind of get it. Like, it's actually a risky move, but if it pays off, you can be in great shape. You can, like, gun down a hatchery or something. But Shin punished it. And then the fact that Maru just kind of willed his way back into the game against a Shin who was looking pretty strong. I'm a little bit worried for Shin now. Moving forward here.
Yeah, it's always brutal when you get such a nice advantage in the early game in a series like this where you are the underdog and then you blow it. And then you're suddenly now you're like, well, you have that moment where you're like, I've got so much confidence. I can actually take it to this player that I've never really beaten before. And then you slowly lose the grip, and then eventually the game loses itself again. And you're just like, what can I do? What advantage do I need to be able to actually beat this guy?
It's one of the scariest things in StarCraft is when you get ahead. Like, what you did early on worked, or you see they made a mistake and you go, okay. Like, all we got to do is play by the book and we're going to win, and then they start to come back anyways. So a pretty intimidating game there from Maru, who takes a 1-0 lead. This is a best of 7. We'll be going into game 2 momentarily. We're waiting for the players to confirm that they're ready. But I'm hoping that we can see Shin win this next one. I'm hoping we have a real back and forth here. My fear is it might just be like a 4-0.
Yeah, I mean, it's not out of the cards, to be honest. Maru has looked extremely good this season so far. Even the ones that he lost against Hero was extremely close. It was down to the wire. Even that last game that they played, it was so back and forth. So let's see if Shin can bring it back here on game number 2. It's going to be Evil Heart. This might be a map that he can bring in some interesting builds, some interesting cheddar cheese maybe, some proxy hatches or some early all-ins or something. Maybe Maru's actually going to be the one to throw out a proxy rack or something. It doesn't look like he's actually sending any SCVs though, so nothing too spicy to start it off, but maybe this is where Shin can bring it back.
Yeah, let's see what Shin's got this time around. I mean, my biggest takeaway in that last game was it's like, even when Maru, I think, makes a strategic blunder or takes a risk and it fails, the fact that he's just so mechanically solid, he knows exactly how to take these fights. Even when he was, like, literally brute forcing his way up ramps versus lurkers.
Yeah.
His control was so good that, that's where it really, I think, becomes intimidating. Mm-hmm. Now, this game's going to be gas pool.
I wonder what that's going to be. I mean, It's obviously you're going to try to get a couple lings early on to potentially deny a low ground CC attempt from the Terran player. Being able to kill off the SCV is the best thing you can hope for in that regard. But maybe SHIN might want to go a little bit heavier with the aggression as well with this gas here. Could be trying to follow it up with some sort of Roach Ling Ravager all in or something to that effect as well. I remember Raynor, I think, maybe had a little bit of success with this, I think last season in RSL, where he was able to bring out a couple of those strategies and find some good wins. So maybe SHIN on this shorter map, this smaller map, might be trying to do something like that.
So we've got the scouting SCV moving out. And the first 2 Lings and Queen have been started. Now here's the command center on the low ground. And yeah, I mean, this SCV is going to get up here and immediately identify when the hatchery had started, and that means that, the tech would have kicked in a little bit earlier with Ling's speed starting over here. Okay, now he only checks that and runs back, but that might be all he needs to see.
Mm-hmm. And there's that Roach Warren coming down from SHIN, so it looks like it is going to be exactly that. It's going to be a bit of Ling Roach Ravager aggression.
Say it's going to be Ringworm.
Oh God, not that anything
no, not
but that,
please.
Oh
God. No, but it's going to be. Let me try. Ling Roach Ravager.
Nice.
Maybe. AKA Ringworm.
That's what we're going to name this strategy now.
This is the Ringworm build.
Anytime someone goes for a Ling Ravager all in.
So, I think even though he didn't go in the main, he should probably know this is what's coming.
Mm-hmm.
He's basically just moving around the map with the Reaper to see, okay, is there a hidden base anywhere? And if so, where is it?
I like that he is checking the gold. Maybe he's seeing that last match that he had versus Classic, realizing that could be an option. So we'll be taking both into account, even going to the top left as well. Really wanted to make sure that it's not just a hidden expansion, that it is actually going to be some potential aggression.
There does seem to have been an uptick in hidden bases in StarCraft II right now. Generally, it's like considered bad to hide a base because it's like I hope my opponent makes a mistake. Like, I hope they don't look for this,
right?
And then I'll be ahead. But sometimes in pro matches it works.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes
the least expected thing actually can be very good because they just obviously don't expect it. The Reaper coming across will get killed off by the Lings. I like that SHIN hid the Ravagers as much as possible because right now from Maru, this looks like just a little bit of Ling aggression to potentially poke and maybe kill a couple SCVs or something. He doesn't look like he's reacting in the way that he should be against a committed Roach Ravager follow-up. There's no bunker, nothing at all. Right now, forced to bring the SCVs back up into the main base and use them to fight into this engagement, but the wall lets a couple Lings in. Well, actually getting it up in time to disallow the Ravagers and stuff, but this is still an awkward engagement now for Maru.
The infrastructure, I don't know how else to say this other than it is so at the front of the base. I've never seen so much infrastructure like right there. The Ravagers can just go to town on this stuff over here. Now Maru's trying to split this off. I don't see... Well, I guess there are some reinforcements coming out here. Somehow Maru just fights this all the way down onto the low ground, which is kind of mind-boggling to me.
Jesus, man. How do you stop this guy? He's lost 14 SCVs, but he's still killing every unit, microing against every single bile, keeping almost everything alive. And now the reinforcing Lings, they're...
The Lings literally got here like a second too late and couldn't help the Ravagers out. You know what it's like? You ever know these like bad movies from like the 90s? Where, like, the hero gets beat up and then gets so mad, like a Steven Seagal, or it's a Rocky moment. Like, he's like, I didn't hear no bell, and he just, like, stutter step micros down the ramp. I don't know how else to describe it, because, like, on paper, especially, like, when I was joking about how the infrastructure was so at the ramp, I'm like, this is about as good of a position as you could ask for as Ragnarok, or SHIN, excuse me. And now we're watching the Hellions actually run across the map and kill...
A singular queen
Yeah.
on the defense is just tickling these Hellions, killing 9 drones, more to follow. What has SHIN got to be able to defend these little tiny red health Hellions? Finally, a couple more Lings pop out to kill them, but I think Maru did more counter damage than what SHIN did initially.
Yeah. Well, this is always the funny thing when you see a big scary rush like that, is then you go back to the base and you're like, oh, they don't have anything. You know what I mean? There's one queen back here, and there's, not even enough drones to be at every single patch. Now, the Ling counterattack comes back here.
This is just a counterattack game. This is like everything that they spawn, they're just throwing across the map.
He held up the Lings, but hold on, these Marines are going to... Oh, gee. Okay.
Well, game's over.
That was...
Gamer moment.
Gamer moment there. So, I can't believe the rush failed as bad as it did. I almost wish we could go back and like look at what happened there.
Yeah.
It didn't seem like a moment where he should have been able to, like, maybe you don't want to bile down the add-ons. I guess you probably want to hit Marines or I don't know.
It's so hard to make those decisions in that snap play because you just have to make the right one, otherwise you will just snowball and lose.
Yeah.
It felt like Maru's micro against the bios was just so good. Like, it didn't seem like any of the bios really connected on anything important. The SCV blocking was also really good on some of those units. The depot rays, actually being able to get that so that way it forced the Ravager Ling out for just a little bit longer was also really good. It felt like everything just fell into place for Maru on that defense, despite seemingly having no idea it was coming.
Yeah, it's crazy. I felt like everything lined up perfectly for SHIN. Like, that should have worked.
Yeah.
I guess it did work, and then he lost everything anyways. And, everything happened so fast, it was almost a little bit tricky to follow. Guys, if you're enjoying what we're putting on over here at the RSL, consider supporting our cause at patreon.com/Revive SC2. It is our mission to continue to carry the torch here for StarCraft II. Whatever you can give is welcome. If you're in a great financial spot, there's higher tiers. If you don't have any money right now, you're in a tough financial spot, that's okay. You can join the Patreon for $0. But yeah, consider signing up.
Yeah, it's going to be great going on into the next seasons. Of course, the season finals coming up, or the offline finals coming up next month as well, so don't miss those. We're going to be going into a little break, though, before we continue on with this series, so stay tuned. More of this SHIN versus Maru series coming up.
Welcome back, everybody. Excuse me. We're going to go into Game 3 here of SHIN versus Maru in what has been a very one-sided series so far.
Yeah, SHIN, everything he's tried, it's just really not... It's like going against a brick wall at this point. Like, Maru, no matter what you do versus him, he just absorbs it, throws it right back at you tenfold, and it seems like nothing can phase him.
It's like Maru is just a counter for him. It's like butter versus the sun. It's what I thought in my head. No matter how you throw the stick of butter, this is just melts. That attack, we're cracking up a little bit about that attack in Game 2. It's just, everything was teed up for that to basically work and make it close. And it worked. Literally, it was Maru like running down the ring and killing the army and then going across the map and killing the drones. So I'm worried here. I'm worried for SHIN. Because I think this could very well be a 4-0.
Yeah, I mean, even in the last series that they played earlier on in the tournament, it really just felt like SHIN, even though he was getting these crazy advantages in maybe one or two of the games, Maru, again, just came back and just was able to weather the storm. And SHIN just cannot get over this mental hurdle, it feels like, of Maru. He just cannot beat this guy. He did get a couple close games in the previous series, though, so there's still some hope. It might not just be a straight-up 4-0, but... just from those last two games, it unfortunately does maybe look like it's going that way, but Celestial Enclave maybe will be the turning point for SHIN as we head on into that map number 3.
Okay, Maru here in the top right, SHIN in the bottom left, and I don't want to pick on SHIN too much, but the build order and the way that loss felt, it almost felt to me like SHIN kind of knew he was in hot water after Game 1 and went, okay, we try to honorable macro game. Let's try to just, cripple Maru early on. And the fact that it backfired so badly may just be a statement about these two players and what kind of games they create, where Maru just knows how to beat SHIN. And I'm sure, this is always true in tournaments, but I'm sure you've even experienced it where some player who's just strong enough you can never beat him no matter what you do. Mm-hmm. So hopefully that's not the case this time around. We are on the map that has the pocket base in the back, and that's funny. I didn't think he would expand there.
That's interesting.
First. I was literally about to say people normally take this later because it's free, but never mind.
Yeah, I think that might be one of the first times we've seen one of these one of the players actually take it as their natural, especially as a Zerg player. Like, I feel like as a Zerg, generally, you always feel very safe no matter what to take the forward normal natural. That doesn't seem like something that is really contested too much. So I'm curious what the plan here is from SHIN in this particular game. Like, part of me thought like maybe Maru sees that there's no nat or something, or that it's later and he thinks it's another, he's trying to mind game him and say he's not going to go super deep to check or something and he overreacts. But I feel like Maru's not the one that would fall for that kind of a thing, especially because the worker only path is just in that base as well, so you can easily just send an SCV and see the new base. So I don't feel like that is necessarily the play, but yeah, I don't know. I'm curious to see what he's going for. It's just going to be a really fast 3 hatch.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder what the rationale is for taking that first. Yeah, I don't know. But normally you see that taken later. I mean, obviously it's also true for Terran and Protoss, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the builds are so well engineered to allow you to get up a base, generally speaking, that we tend to see these freer bases taken later. These were one of the kind of first, I think, really cool ideas that happened in StarCraft map making. It happened in StarCraft 1, but it really did make you think, right? It's not just about you expand to the closest base, and then the one after that, what if you put one or even two bases behind them? And then what kind of games does that create,
Yeah, we're going to get the Reaper coming on in as normal. We'll be able to just poke around, not going to be able to do too much damage here. Hopefully Maru doesn't lose it like he did in that first game. We'll be able to keep it alive for now, so that's obviously what he wants to be doing. And, of course, the Queen will now have to run it down the ramp to keep this third base alive as well and unattacked by that Reaper. So it looks like SHIN is just going to take it as slow as possible for now. Still no gas being taken either. So, yeah, he's not really trying to tech up super fast or anything either. He's just going straight for the... straight for the greed. And look at Maru also going for a straight low ground CC again on a kind of random base that you wouldn't normally see this on.
This is disgusting.
What am I looking at?
This is criminal.
No way SHIN scouts that.
Third command center. You know, if you lose the SCV that's making that, it doesn't finish. You know that's how risky that is.
I mean, why would you send some lings over there? Like, he's got three hatcheries so fast, no gas, no extra lings or anything. Maru is making a very calculated greed move, thinking that SHIN isn't possibly going to send random lings over to this base of all bases. He's making a great play, I feel like. This is an excellent read and adaptation compared to what SHIN is doing.
It's double engineering bay 2?
Good lord. Someone stop this, man.
Someone stop this. This should be illegal. This is insane to me. Now, it's like the only thing that could make this like even more riskier and almost nonsensical is like then he goes mech after that. He has double E-base, but he goes for mechanical units too.
He rushes BCs.
Yeah, well, he gets 2 armories next and just upgrades there. It's like, okay. So Maru's just coming out here and doing a little bit of damage here and there. Now, remember, I mean, this is really risky to take a third base like this. So he's kind of getting to have his cake and eat it. You know, he's going unpunished with this command center that's just out in the middle of nowhere. The Overlord's going to come in here. Now, this was the Overlord that was spotting earlier. And I do feel like you should... this is one of the harder things to do in the game, is like right around this time of the game to go in there and see all the buildings and know exactly where the game is. But he should notice that stuff's a little bit later.
Surely.
Right?
Yeah, hopefully. Hopefully he does key into that. I mean, he sees the double E base, so that's enough greed to show him that he can take that double Evo himself to make sure he doesn't just become so drastically far behind on that upgrade count, because that becomes so critical in the mid and late game of this matchup, is getting a whole set of upgrades ahead of your opponent is just... It's just a massive window that you can abuse from any side, honestly. So SHIN wants to make sure he is going to be toe-to-toe with that in that regard, but Maru is still going to have the upper advantage in that regard for quite a while. And this third base, I wonder if SHIN even realizes how fast he put that down, because it's like, I don't know, man. That's when do you scout that type of a base in this type of game?
I mean, he just doesn't know what kind of game he's in. These are usually the worst types of games for a pro to be in. Because even if they're like, mechanically playing perfectly, they don't understand where the trajectory is. Yeah. Right? Like, let's assume SHIN thinks this is a two-base game, right? Well, he's going to be preparing for a push that's going to come immediately. That may delay, a new expansion, or he might cut on drones. When the reality is Maru's push is actually going to be a bit later, because it's actually a pretty standard time push, which is on 3 bases. By the way, guys, we've casted countless 3 command center games. The command center's never made it the expansion, though.
Yeah, you always float it.
Yeah, you float, and you don't float it immediately. Once you just, like, check this out. He's going to show him. He's like, look.
Look what I've done to you.
Yeah. Now, even then, he might still not know when that was set up. But the point I'm trying to make is, like, this is 3 command centers, but, like, he even had that planted there so that the moment it's done, you can make SCVs. So this push is going to be just insane compared to anything else.
Yeah, Shin was still realizing again, though, that there was some kind of greed happening. Of course, seeing the double eBay, he might have actually put the pieces together that the third base was quite quick. And he did drone up pretty heavily behind some of this as well. He's all the way up to 80 drones, so he's got a good economy going for himself. And now he's going to be able to ramp ahead in army supply as well. So I feel like both players are going to be able to really meet in the middle eventually in this mid game with some pretty strong forces. A couple dropper lords also being morphed here, interestingly enough. I wonder what those are going to be for. Maybe Baneling drops, or maybe usually sometimes, okay, it's actually going to be Lings to go into the main base, I'm assuming. Once Overlord speed finishes up, they'll be able to zoom ahead over there. A couple Overlords also getting picked in the middle of the map to deny any vision, but Shin will be able to force those away.
It's going to be 4 base versus 4 base. I assume that, you know, these Overlords are going to be inbound over to that hidden base in the back. Yeah, and he's just now got the speed upgrade, so those are finally actually moving at a good pace. But, I mean, you know, Maru, he's nearing being maxed out. Shin has an insanely high supply. The first battle in fights with these types of armies is really important, right? Because you need to see, do the Banes connect properly? Or is the stutter step micro so good that they, you know, are pretty much cut up and not connecting to juicy targets? Because, you know, the counterattacks and everything else from there are going to be really, really big.
Oh, Maru, I think, captured the Dropper Lords over on the right-hand side.
Oh!
He realized that that was happening, was able to kill one of them, the other one also weakened, but now the surprise is kind of gone here for Shin, trying to use that little multi-prong harass that you don't normally go for. It's not super common to do the Ling drops in TVZ, so that's a bit unfortunate for him, because obviously it seemed like he was really trying to set that up for something big, potentially even to get into the main base to maybe deny those upgrades being made. Could have been huge, and then pairing it up with an attack over on the left-hand side as well. But it looks like for now, Shin's army will find a couple of drops, but since it's just Hydras on the ground, you can just boost away with the Medivacs as well. So Shin isn't really actually killing many of these units from Maru.
Yeah, gonna go ahead and just pick up over here. Maybe try to actually drop over in this base in the very, very back, the first expansion that Shin took in this game. Both sides are nearly maxed out. I love the drop over here. He just wants to try to get rid of that drop overlord to make sure there's no counterplay. And, you know, Maru is basically elected to not really move out on the map until he is entirely maxed out here. So he's got a lot of momentum. Shin has done a very good job, though, of keeping up. And it looks like he's going to try to tear down these rocks. I don't think it's going to work out. And for the first time, we're seeing Terran finally move out on the map with the tanks. When you see the tanks with the army, it means this is a committed push and not just like medevac harass.
Yeah, now that he's actually maxed out, he's got his 2-2 finished for quite a while. He's going to try to find some position on the map here. 3-3 is going to be coming up in just a couple minutes, so he's just kind of setting himself up for an eventual winning blow later on in the game. Shin doesn't want to let that happen, though, coming in from multiple angles, setting up the Banelings to try and connect onto the Marines, but the stutter step and the micro from Maru is going to be able to deny that for the most part, as all of the tanks and Marines are still holding strong on the back line.
The movement from Maru was just insane there. Like, able to pick up certain units and then kite with others. It's going to shut down that base immediately. And remember, the tanks, most of them actually lived through that. So that's a very bad sign. You know, a lot of times you'll see at least the tanks are wiped out and it's a couple of the Marines that were kited away. But at least the push has lost its foothold. In this case, Maru's going to keep going.
Yeah, looks like Shin is trying to go for a counterattack. Got a lot of Lings going over there, trying to send a couple as well to kill some of those tanks, but just met with more reinforcements, unable to find any damage there, losing a base on the left for this. This base over on the right-hand side could just get lifted if needed, but there's still enough units to actually defend as well. So Shin, all of his attempts to get any counter damage are being met again with a brick wall.
It's so funny. It's like he sees the Lings attacking it, and you know he just hits the button to make the orbital. He's like, I'm not losing that. We're going to go ahead and just start to upgrade that building. And, of course, the Marines do come in there and chase that away. 3-3 is about to finish, along with concussive shells. And the push is not stopping. And listen, if Shin can't stop this, the game will end.
Yeah, this upgrade lead is going to be great for Maru. 3-3 over 2-2, even having one on the vehicle weapons as well. Shin going to try to mount another defense, but just immediately forced to run back. The Lings trying to again go to the right, but again a planetary ready in defense. Maru is just killing everything without losing any units, it feels like. The Lings trying to find something, will eventually get that, but the splits back from Maru continue to be excellent.
Yeah, I think this game's almost done, man. There's going to be another hatchery falling here. The army, you know, not all these medevacs have energy to heal, but it might not matter. He gets the hatchery regardless. The counterattacks did a decent amount of damage. 12 SCVs is not bad, but I think the momentum here is
queens
still...
doing here?
Yeah, these queens. Yeah, the old double queen counter attack. I'm not sure about that one.
He set that up 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, that started... That's so funny. Yeah, I don't know what these queens are doing here, but they are not going back home, no matter how much they would transfuse each other. So SHIN is pushed the attack away, but I think he's too small in supply, and he actually had a lot of bases mowed down there.
Yeah, sure, he was able to get some counter damage done and finally actually dislodge the push for once, but it's basically too late. He can't really find any value off of this at the moment. He's just basically still sitting back and trying to recoup what he lost as well. Whereas Maru, he's basically taking this. He got dropped down to less than SHIN's SCVs, and he's already now back up at 88 SCVs himself. He's got so many CCs that he can easily just replenish that eco, whereas SHIN... Yeah, he's on 81 drones right now, but his army is not able to do anything at this point. He's got such a little army supply. Maru's right back up, nearing max again. He's already on the bottom right again.
Yeah, that hatchery is hurting. Nearly no HP there. A couple of these ghosts are going to get surrounded. But, you know, SHIN's barely clinging on to life here.
Oh, wow. I can't believe... Oh, okay, there you go.
Gets it.
Finally, something going SHIN's way a little bit again. So we'll be able to pick that off. It's quite nice. So we'll be able to keep this bottom right base alive for now. Adrenal coming up as well is going to be very important for him to be able to take some more of these late game engagements and also allow his harassment, if it does start to keep going, be more effective. Because once Adrenal does kick in, the Lings really start to kill bases and other buildings much quicker. So it makes them much more effective in the late game. We'll see if Maru can stop him before it really gets to that point, as he's basically maxed yet again, trying to come on in to this bottom side of the map. Will he be able to actually kill this off?
Yeah, there's going to be another big attack coming up here. SHIN looking pretty fearsome. Question is, where are the rest of the infantry? It looks like they're slowly trickling in and meeting, which is giving enough momentum, or at least for the time being, for SHIN to do damage. But we see there is just too many infantry. He's going to try to push in a little bit further. More Banelings are going to hatch in a second, and these Banelings need to connect to targets. They got to get some real damage done here, or this push is going to end the game.
Yeah, this is looking great for Maru. He's just right in front of these Banelings, barely even pre-splitting, honestly, just kind of disrespecting it. Now finally does go for it, but Maru will be able to clinch this third game, coming up very nicely so far in this best of 7.
Maru's looking extremely strong. I think SHIN put up a decent fight back there, but it's this Terran pushing that Maru is just too good at. Mm-hmm. He trades too well over time. He knows when to commit down to a hatchery, when to commit with a push where he's going to have an anchored position, like with the tanks, versus when he's just going to dart around the map with medevacs. I think SHIN had some cool ideas going for him. I liked the Ling drop he was trying to set up, but that got spotted by Maru.
Yeah.
And, yeah, man, a naked third CC.
I mean, I love the reaction, though, because he sees what SHIN is going for. He sees the gasless 3 base, and he's just like, oh, you're not going to send Lings to a random corner of the map.
Yeah.
I'm just going to make my third CC on location. I'm going to call your bluff, basically, and just go for the double eBay behind it as well. He just sets himself up so nicely for the mid game that he obviously feels very comfortable in. So Maru, anything to get him to that point faster, he's definitely going to take that.
He must know SHIN's Overlord scouting patterns and know that SHIN just keeps one Overlord checking the triangle expansion. Because that is a level of confidence.
Yeah.
That's just such an easy way to lose the game when you have everything going for you. In almost any other game, you just see the Terran keep the third CC in their main. Maybe they'll try to hide it or make it harder to spot. But, you know, and you're going to be in okay shape with the fact that it finishes on site. Immediately SCVs are being made there. You can land mules there the second it's done. I mean, that's big.
Yeah.
So, greedy play from Maru. Interesting to see how he mixes it up in each of these games. And, we're going to go to Game 4, and hopefully Game 5, but probably not. It's probably going to be a 4-0 here, looking at as how strong Maru is. We'll see if SHIN can come up with something, but so far, macro games haven't worked, cheese hasn't worked.
Yeah, even the eco cheese, essentially, the greed of the 3 hatch didn't work, so SHIN is really going to have to dig into the bag of tricks this game to find something in this series. I mean, down 0-3. It's so difficult to make that comeback. The full reverse sweep is just such a monumental task in some of these best of 7s. And against someone that you have never, I can't even emphasize that enough, never won a best of 3+ against. Like, how do you even possibly start this comeback.
I mean, it's rough. It would be the craziest comeback in StarCraft 2 if he could do it. You know, it's pretty rare in a best of 7 to get to Game 7, but the rarest thing of all is to have someone go 3-0, and then the other guy wins the next 4.
Yeah. It's happened so rarely. I mean, anytime it does happen, it's just literally the most insane thing ever.
Innovation, and I'm probably somewhere else in my life. I just can't think of it. Somewhere else in the game's history.
Yeah, I'm not I'm not Roddy. I can't think of every single series off the back of my
Rotterdam
hand.
can just mention a losers bracket match that happened 11 years ago, and I'll be at the desk like, how did you do that?
What do you mean you don't remember Roru versus Fantasy in the Home Story Cup round of 4? Like, that was the best series of all time.
Yeah, that's a pretty good Roddy voice.
Thank you.
You got the sound that he kind of makes when he talks. That was very good. Well done, Gemini. So, in this game, I mean, what exactly is SHIN supposed to do? I don't know. I mean, it feels like he's tried several different ideas and none of them have worked. Maru, this time he went for tech into expand. And he's shown such a comfortable range of play. I don't know. It's a mystery to me what exactly SHIN could do better to try to take on Maru.
It just feels like Maru has the answer for everything, and he can do anything.
Yeah.
There's no strategy that I feel like Maru would take in this series and be like, that's a bad call. Don't do that. Literally anything he does, I'd just be sitting there like, oh my god, yes, King, go off, please. Just do anything. You can do whatever you want. Fast BC, Proxy, Liberator, I don't care. He's going to find a way to win, apparently, against SHIN. There's really nothing for him to do that SHIN can defend, it feels like. It seems like he's just fully in control. And SHIN has been the one trying to find the answer, and so far he hasn't been able to.
Yeah, I'm glad you pointed out how brutally one-sided their history's been.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Excuse me. Because when you get two guys in the same region, right, and one is just so much stronger than the other, that's almost when it becomes a psychological thing, too, right? I mean, we've all faced players where it's like, oh, I fought him a couple times, and yeah, I've never beaten him, but I mean, these guys, how many times have they faced each other in GSL, in other Asian tournaments out here overseas, And it's got to be brutal for someone like SHIN, who's just gotten so deep in so many tournaments, but if Maru's in the way, there's no getting past him.
And it looks like Maru's going to be bringing back one of the builds that he used earlier on in the series. It's going to be that third CC into the 3-Rex. I think it was on Mothership, the first map that he did this, where he did that big Marine move out that, honestly, it looked like it was the worst for him in the whole series, but still was able to recover from losing all the Marines on the map and, 18 SCVs or something like that on the counterattack to the Ling Muta. So we'll see if he's going to try that again. I imagine SHIN won't. Well, actually, he's going for a pretty quick lair. Maybe he might try for some Mutas again or something interesting. But Maru, I feel like, won't be as aggressive with the Marine move out this time, I'd imagine.
So on this map, it's actually similar to the build we saw before, just the command center's in the main. What we're used to seeing. There is no place to hide another command center. For your third here, just the way the map is shaped, unless you wanted to just be super crazy risky.
Yeah, which is, Maru has no reason to do that.
No.
he's found that he's been totally fine in these macro games, so I wouldn't expect it.
So right now, SHIN is powering up as much as he can, paving the map with creep, and trying to get ready for what's going to be a really, really difficult mid-game and late game here, versus the likes of Maru, who just seems to be invincible in the matchup. 1-1 has started for Maru. I don't believe we've had any Evo chambers made just yet. But if they are, assuming nobody misses a beat here, Maru will always be ahead by upgrades.
That's true. And it is going to be that Muta play coming out again from SHIN. So this is looking like a mirror almost of that Mothership match. So SHIN trying to bring this back. It was definitely the build that showed him the most success overall in the series. So I'm not surprised that he's bringing this one out when all the cards are on the table, basically. So he's going to try to find that type of momentum that he was able to earlier on in the series. See if he can get his Mutas and Lings and Banes into good engagements and maybe snowball this one into a nice mid-game for him. But I think Maru's not going to give him as much of an opening as he did in the first time. But we'll see how aggressive he is with this early Marine move out as he takes this third base.
Okay, the Overseer is going to spot it, excuse me, just as it lands. And we're about to have the Spire finished. There's a decent amount of gas banked up, so he can immediately pump out a bunch of Mutas here. He's getting the 2 more gases now as well. And we see the Evo chamber here about halfway done. Only one right now for SHIN.
Yeah, so those are going to make it a little bit more difficult to match the 1-1 upgrades and eventually the 2-2 that'll be coming out from Maru. But all of the leverage that he's trying to find in this game is coming from this Muta play. He's going to see if he can get any sort of backstab damage, take Maru by surprise a little bit by going for this fast Muta again. Zero scouting from Maru on this tech, so no seeing of the extra gases, not seeing the lair, of course, and absolutely not the Spire. So he's not going to have that information to know that it is going to be a fast Muta. Is he preparing for it anyways, though? I do see a couple turrets being made in the production tab. Nothing in the main for now, but it looks like the turrets, okay, there we go, now does drop that down, so is aware of the possibility and even gets the scan to confirm at this point, so he knows that the Mutas are inbound, but where is SHIN striking first?
And SHIN is going to go up here into the natural. There's one turret here and a couple Marines, so nothing of major consequence is going to happen here as far as Zerg getting any kind of a W. And, you know, I think the turrets are going to be set up pretty nicely. Will we have Terran actually push out? He seems to be forking his units out in different directions. You know, with the 4th base finishing, it is pretty standard to see, I guess the most formulaic mid-game end to a TVZ is the Terran pushes the Zerg on 4 bases and kills the 4th base.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're going to have that here, but just want to point that out.
And it looks like there's extra barracks coming on in from Maru as well. He might be setting himself up for an 8-Rax, also getting some Hellbats into the mix as well versus the eventual Lingbane on the ground. So Maru is going to ramp up the aggression, like you mentioned, trying to go punch down that 4th base with this 2-2 that's going to be finishing up rather quickly, continuing the Hellbat production as well, instead of going for Widow Mines, which is interesting because it felt like historically the composition against Lingbane Muta from the Terran has been to put in as many mines as possible to get the trades versus the Lingbane on the ground, and also against the Mutas. But Maru is going to be mixing that up, going for a full frontal force, basically, to bulldoze down with those Hellbats to tank some of the Banelings.
Okay, 5th base coming up here. Maru is not going to strike, I think, until he's maxed out. I thought maybe that push would come. Bare minimum, it's going to be when 2-2 is done here. But yeah, he's looking pretty scary here. You can see the Lings are set up here for some possible counterattacks. By the way, the Mutas basically did no damage.
Yeah.
Not that I guess they have to, but, you know, ideally, if you're going to get Mutas out, you would have wanted to kill a bunch of SCVs and get something done. But Maru, his zoning has been god tier.
Yeah, he's really just been able to deny these Mutas at every play. I do like that SHIN has an Overseer in the main base, at least trying to deny these upgrades for a little bit. Unfortunately, he's delaying the armor instead of the weapon upgrade, so it would have been nicer if he could have gotten that. But basically, anything is good for him at this point. There's a massive Baneling and Ling run-by over on the top right-hand side of the map. We'll see if that's going to be able to get any damage or when SHIN actually wants to go in for it. It looks like he's trying to draw the Terran army as far away from that portion of the map as possible before going in with that massive army. And he's going to try to trigger that right now as the bio finds its way onto the creep.
Okay, the big counterattack's going to come in here now. He is going to try to overwhelm this situation here. Now, remember, the Banelings that are coming up here, these could have been used to try to hold off a fight. Instead, he's going to try to kill SCVs. So this, okay, that was insane. That was, I can't believe how many workers he killed. There's already 30 dead workers. Now, that's huge, but those are Banes that could have been used on the army. So you got to be careful about the counterattack here. What's most important now for SHIN is that he starts out a lot more Banelings. So he already has 24 more. Really good.
Good lord. Yeah, that is an insane amount of Banelings already prepared. And he's already sending the Lings over again on the counterattack. It seems like SHIN's game plan is simply to counterattack as much as possible. Once Maru gets all the way across the map, the rest of the army from SHIN is back in the natural yet again. He's trying to make as much chaos happen as possible so that way it forces Maru to make a decision. Do you commit on the front or do you run back home to defend? And for now, it looks like he's going to commit.
Oh my god, we got the Baneling's Nest right over here too. So when that goes down, that means you can't get any more Banes for the time being until it's remade. But, I mean, Maru is just going right up towards the main. And I don't know that this army can be killed. We don't see SHIN running back. And by the way, the Spire's going to go down here soon. Pretty soon there's going to be only a spawning pool back at home. And Lings are never going to be able to kill. Lings alone will never be able to kill what Maru has back there. At the same time, Maru's bases are decimated. So the question is, with what SHIN has, can he wipe out what Maru is hitting him with? And I think the answer is actually no. I could be wrong.
So he's also remade the Baneling nest because that got sniped off as well, which is probably one of the most important parts of this defense. You need to be able to make more Banelings to defend against the 54 Marines that Maru has right now. The 6 Hellbats are also going to be key in blocking some of those Banelings from getting the nice connections. You're just going to leave them on the front there, let them soak up as much as possible. The Marauders also will be filling that role. And now it looks like Maru is going to be trying to go to the last base for SHIN, and SHIN is not going to let that happen.
Okay, the Banes are going to come in here. There's not enough surface area for Maru. A huge pickup. He's going to try to drop these back off into the main, but there's Lings here as well.
Oh, nice engagement coming out from SHIN, forcing these, but now the Muta's actually getting a little bit over-eager as the rest of the Lings do finally come on in, but now they're forcing the Bio to lift off, and that's when SHIN can get the snipes on the Medivacs as well. So honestly, a pretty good defense so far from the initial attack, and SHIN also still has a good amount of drones behind this. Oh, this position is maybe not the best for SHIN. He might be trying to go a little bit too far, but I think he's actually still going to be able to kill off some of this units.
Okay, so does SHIN win now? I mean, Maru has landed his natural CC. I think the actual third CC was killed. I could be wrong. There's barely any infrastructure. It's 23 SCVs to 39 drones.
Yeah, this is looking good for SHIN, I feel like. I mean, he's going to be able to keep some of his drones alive. Honestly, those 3 Hellbats actually just kind of turned the tide a bit, because that's 12 drones that just got killed off.
Yeah.
Until that point, SHIN actually was able to keep a lot of his drones alive. I just realized Maru has 3-3.
Yeah,
Maru actually finished 3-3 during all of that. That's actually going to be huge if this starts to get a little bit later.
Was the Spire remade?
I
actually don't know.
I don't believe it did. No, it's not. It's just going to be Lings and Banes.
So, I mean, the problem with Lings and Banes, so every Muta is really important here. You know, Mutas pair so well with Ling Bane. Oh gosh, he doesn't really have enough to defend this, huh?
Yeah, the rest of the Marines are actually over on the attack, over on the right-hand side, trying to kill that top right base. So that means the main base, yet again, is exposed from Maru. SHIN is doing such an excellent job of always backstabbing, counterattacking anytime Maru tries to take any real estate on the map. SHIN is just right back in there in his main base, forcing off the strange decisions. Where does Maru engage?
So all the tech's here, right? I mean, not that there's a lot of tech, but like this,
I
mean, the spawning pool, the Baneling's nest, he's starting to get a layer again. But, excuse me, he can just camp over the infrastructure, right?
Yeah, he will be able to kill this off yet again, but there's so much here already again from SHIN. He's trying to get an engagement as Maru, but the rest of the Ling Bane is going to be fully enough to deny this. The CC is even getting lifted off as Maru once again forced into one base. It's getting killed off as well. It feels like Maru is having such a hard time actually getting a punching blow onto SHIN. He's able to just barely survive with enough things, enough infrastructure to continue to remake.
I think SHIN can win. I think there's just too many mutas. There's too much on the ground. It's hard to kind of finesse this with micro. Now I say that, and then he does target every Marine in the back, but I think it shouldn't matter. That army's going to get wiped. God, he made a lot, though.
Yeah, I mean, he's scanning Maru, that is, some of the extra bases, trying to see how many things are actually on the map for SHIN. He sees no base on that one that he did scan, so maybe he's got a false interpretation of where he's at in this game, but this is honestly going to be quite difficult for Maru. I don't even think a player of his caliber can find a way back into this game. I mean, SHIN is doubling his supply. He's only got 31 drones, but his army count is crazy. Sure, the upgrades are not good for him, but it feels like with what Maru has, you can't really get a good engage. 7 Banelings only on the field, but 90-something Lings? How do you engage this as Maru?
He's so good at clicking down the Banelings from a distance. Excuse me. He's going to pick up again and try to unload over here on the high ground. I think you're right, though, about the Lings. It's just too many. GG. SHIN takes his first game. Can he take some more?
Yeah, that was absolutely what the doctor ordered for SHIN.
Yeah.
Loving how the Mutaling Bane worked out for him that time. Sure, it didn't really find any early game damage. It wasn't the, oh, I gotcha, with 12 SCVs suddenly dying to the surprise Mutas or anything. He still was able to use them for some nice counterattacking later on in the mid-game. Once the 8 racks was going across the map, drawing the army as far as possible away, and then going in with the crazy Ling Bane counters, forcing Maru to make the decisions, going back at first, buying himself some more time, and then SHIN was able to draw it out long enough in that crazy game.
It was a game where Maru was still pretty scary and almost took it.
Yeah.
Like, it was a moment where, like, you could just see Maru is so strong at what he does. The Ling count was just so high, it engulfed anything that was on the ground. There's just nothing you could do.
Yeah. Once it gets to that point, Maru really lost all of his steam. Sure, his upgrades were going great, but you couldn't really actually get anything going at that point once the initial trade started happening, once he lost almost his entire economy.
Right. Guys, RSL offline tickets are for sale. We've got regular tickets and premium tickets, and it is going to be at the big place in Seoul. That's not far from, it's in the Gangnam area. If you know Seoul, then it's by Yeoksam Station. But we're super excited about this. We've already put this big deposit down on this venue. We're going to be building out a whole cool layout for this live show. We hope you consider buying a ticket. There are a limited number of them. And so if you're going to get them, I recommend you get it now. If you're going to fly into the country, get that plane ticket first. Or actually, no, get this ticket first, then fly in. Yeah. And
get all your tickets. Just get them.
Get your hotel tickets and, your taxi tickets.
Get your bus tickets.
Get your bus tickets, all the tickets. But anyways, you can go to tastelessthreads.com. That's where those are for sale. And we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to continue on here with Maru versus SHIN.
Welcome back, everybody. State and Sturgeon tagging in for Maru versus SHIN. Maru leading the series 3-1 right now at best of 7. It is match point, but SHIN just won game 4. And I have to ask you, is the impossible possible? Are you a dreamer, Sturgeon? Can SHIN actually turn this around?
I would love to see it. My heart says yes, my head says no. I like the build he used in the last game, but you're kind of asking for the impossible to win 3 games in a row against Maru, I feel like.
Yeah, especially for a SHIN who, in the entire history of StarCraft II, has never won a series best of 3 or longer versus Maru. He's won some best of 1, so he's certainly got that, but in best of 3 plus, 28-0 in the advantage of Maru, and the map score telling the same thing. That's like 85, 86% in Maru's advantage. It's crazy. I can't think of a more lopsided matchup in StarCraft II, but if SHIN can make the reverse sweep happen versus Maru, that's the stuff of dreams, man.
Yeah, in the FGC, they say if you can win a game, you can win a set. It is possible for sure. We'll have to see. He looked in very good spirits there on the player cam, I gotta say. Looking comfortable, looking confident, laughing it up. The map here is going to be Botanical for game number 5 state. In the top left, we have SHIN as the red Zerg, and in the bottom right, it is the Terran Hope Maru as the blue Terran.
Yeah, Maru has been looking so good this series, but SHIN now finally fighting back in game number 4. And you have to wonder how Botanical is going to play into this one, because we've seen some very deadly TVZ pushes on this map. There's this junction between the natural expansion and the third where Terran can basically push almost from the high ground with this ramp location right here, and it is just so siegeable. Third base, tanks even creeping and crawling towards that natural expansion. It's very easy for the Terran to encroach on the heart of the Zerg base.
Yeah, there's a ton of good tank positions around here. On the flip side, if you advance too much, there's kind of multiple angles the Zerg can come from, but the Terran doesn't often have to commit that hard, right? They can make the Zerg run into them. We'll have to see if that plays into it, but right now, we have a 2-Rax on our hand state.
Yeah, 2-Rax with a gas as well, so a little bit of a throwback to a build that Björn had popularized, I want to say a couple of years ago now, which took the TBZ world by storm a few patches ago. These Reapers on the low ground were all the rage. You get some map presence. You can potentially even deny a third base or at least delay it in TBZ. And it's cool to have Maru bust this thing out in a best of 7 series. You don't see it all too often these days.
Yeah, I like that you're showing so much variety. Just for those who are kind of curious, the 2-Rax is the non-extremely committal version. You can also do the 3-Rax version where you make a ton of Reapers, and then you do need to get some damage. But with the 2-Rax, you're going to force the Zerg to make a lot more Lings than they would like to, or they are comfortable with. The dream is you're going to pick off a few drones, maybe a Queen or 2, slow the Zerg down, and meanwhile you're going to take your CC and macro up behind this.
Yeah, and delaying the third hatchery also critically important here for Maru if he's able to make that happen. And looking at the map architecture here at Botanical, it's a challenge to get Queens from the natural expansion to any of the potential third base locations, isn't it? So if Maru is consistent with the Reaper production, that might be possible, but he's transitioning into Marines relatively quickly.
Yeah, not making too many Reapers here. The kind of danger is the Zerg is that you overmake Lings and then they stopped making Reapers and then you have these kind of useless Lings, right? Because there's a full wall at the front that you cannot break. And the spawn positions are good as well because all of Maru's add-ons will be inside the natural as opposed to if it was if it was swapped, then they would be outside the natural.
This is such a cool switch up coming in from Maru. Normally when you see the 2 Rax Reaper on the low ground like this, you'll go up to, say, 5 Reapers or so. But Maru just gets 1 Marine out to deny the scouting of SHIN back at home, and he goes into a very fast 3rd command center, saving the gas from the Reaper production, instead using that to add in a reactor. Soon I'm sure we'll have a factory in production. Or maybe not. It's a tech lab and a reactor right now. This could build up to a relatively low-tech but strong push from Terran in a few minutes. And hold on a second, is that's a 4th command center from Maru?
No way.
At 325, we have 4 CCs. What on earth is happening?
The madman. What a mind game this is. He says, hey, I'm 2 racks Reaper pressuring you. Psych, actually, I'm making 4 CCs at home. This is a wild build, guys.
I can't believe this. Maru is the king of greed, but this is just taking it on to another level, and then double engineering way behind it. We have 4 CCs for Terran. This is outrageous.
I mean, if SHIN doesn't do some damage at some point in the mid game, this Terran economy is going to be out of control. He'll have so many workers, such a strong kind of economy going into the mid and late game. I'm actually blown away. Like 3 CCs is greedy, right? You can die if you make 3 CCs and they all in you. If you make 4 CCs, this is just the epitome of greed right now.
I just can't believe what we're seeing right now from Maru. He's going to saturate these 2 mineral lines so quickly. He's going to have to take that 3rd. And behind this, 1-1 upgrades are coming. He does have that tech lab on the barrack, so he can also go into stim pack very quickly. He is doing that just now. Gets fired up, and there isn't a lot of gas here for Maru to go into the factory. So the factory, the starport, the medevacs, they're all going to be a little bit delayed. But the compensation that Maru is going to have is just ridiculous in terms of eco. It will be the best possible Terran eco, a pro-level TVZ this early on. It's ludicrous. You never see 3 command centers added on this quickly.
And we just now see the first factory at almost 5 minutes here. So going so heavily into the minerals here, the SCVs, the Marines. I mean, if you're SHIN and you just kind of macro up behind this, you could be in a lot of trouble. But
He's
the
hiding
Overlord actually comes in, and the CC tried to float away. Did he see that or not?
Yeah, I'm not sure. If SHIN glimpsed it, he would have glimpsed it after it had lifted, so we can't even check through the fog of war after checking SHIN's vision, whether or not he confirms it. But I feel like it was just on the cusp. It's hard to say.
Yeah, it looks
one way
like
or
it
the
was
other.
close. I think he may have seen it. I don't think we'll see an insane reaction from SHIN. Even if he did, I don't think he's going to suddenly just start making Lings and try to bust this down. You don't have any tech like, Road Ravager or Banes or Mutas or something to do that, so he's going to drone very heavily behind this. This one drone somehow got lost on the middle of the map. You're not an Ultralisk? What are you doing out here? There's 2 Reapers there to put that drone away. And SHIN now going to take control of the watchtowers, start to finally clear up these Reapers who've had map vision for so long.
Yeah, these Reapers really getting their job done, getting some scouting information, securing the perimeter here for this 3rd command center, which just now landed. 55 SCVs already here for Maru as he's pumping them out 4 at a time, and the production starting to explode. We're getting the armory now for 2-2 upgrades on Terran's side. We're adding in 3 more barracks, whereas SHIN, he's also fleshing out the tech tree, going into a lair, adding in the baling nest. 1-1 upgrades, a little bit staggered there for SHIN as he just had the 1 evolution chamber opening at the very beginning. He's going to be at an upgrade deficit here versus Maru. And eventually, when the economic engine of Maru gets online, when he has a good number of medevacs, when these 3 barracks are pumping Marines out, you got to think that a 2-2 timing is inevitable. And it's going to be a pretty large window where Maru has 2-2 and SHIN has just 1 or 2 upgrades.
Yeah, that will hit like a truck for sure. I still can't get over this build. If I played against this on ladder, I'd be so mad. Like, why did you do that? Like, if I all-in you, you just die. But Maru with the big read here says, no, I know you won't do that after I open with a 2 racks Reaper pressure. But I like what SHIN's doing here. He's getting his 5th base nice and quick here. He's got drones. He's going to go up into the 80s now. This little squad of Marines trying to go, shark around, pick off whatever they can here in the middle of the map.
Yeah, it's so smart for Maru to bust this build out up 3-1 in a best of 7, because you could lose another map. Say SHIN all ends and you lose because you built a 4th command center. Well, it's not all lost, right? You have 2 more chances to close things out. Why not take the gamble? And in this case, it absolutely did pay off.
We're actually going to see combat shields finish up here in about 8 minutes, which is really insane. These Banes don't have speed quite now. The Marines trying to pick off what they can. They get a couple drones. All of them pick up there into the medevacs and fly away. So nice little harassment here by Maru, who's, just looking at a pretty comfortable position here.
Yeah, already adding an extra tech labs, I should say, on the barracks built on the low ground here. That's going to be for Marauders because he's anticipating fast ultra coming in from SHIN. He's right that it's ultras, but they aren't too quick on the board just yet. Hive only about halfway done as +2 melee attack getting started here for Zerg. And with that first push from Maru accomplished, it did kill a couple of drones, but more importantly, it set the creep timber back just a little bit. And that makes me think that this top right base is going to be the fixation point here for Maru with the next push. But I say that, and he's getting ready to collapse all the way down on the 9 o'clock.
Yeah, I was with you there. It looks like the triangle. Okay, the burrowed Banes do go down there. It looked like the push from the triangle base towards the Zerg 3rd was the logical path. But Maru going to go towards the left of the map here, actually pushing onto creep. He wants to deny some of this creep spread as much as he can. Doesn't want to let the Zerg, get creep down the whole side of one map. But I love this from SHIN. A run by, going around to that 3rd base. There is a sensor tower there to see it, and some units he can send home if he's quick enough to react.
Maru is already maxed. SHIN only at 185 supply right now. This is what happens when you have 4cc gameplay like this. 2-2 upgrades now done for Terran as well, as SHIN's going to be launching a counterattack. The sensor tower does see this. Reinforcements are going to be coming here into the 3rd base. A lot of SCVs are going down, but Maru, he's still got 60 plus, so his economic engine, it's in a good position. He's going to take down this hatchery here on the left side as SHIN is coming in. Actually, no focus fire there on the hatchery, so the Marines... Oh, okay, finally they're able to break through right now. Those Lings sequestering themselves into the corner. More Banelings here at the 3rd base of SHIN are going to have to retreat as he's trying to be as annoying as possible, collapsing again on this position with the Baneling. Yeah. Finally, he's able to push Maru out.
It does cost him a hatchery, though. There's more bio down here right now. The counterattack of SHIN did take out more than 20 workers. That was a good counterpunch. There's so many Zerglings out on the field. And finally, we see Adrenal Glands, Ultras, Kindness Plating, all these key upgrades coming out for SHIN.
Yeah, first Ultra is going to be adding onto the board in just a moment as he starts +3 Carapace. It's going to be very useful here for SHIN. Not too far behind the +3 infantry weapons, but still going to be an upgrade advantage window here for Maru should he try to capitalize on that timing. Now 4 medevacs going into the main base. This does get spotted by SHIN. He's got a big force of Lings trying to stop this right now in the main, but economically, SHIN, he's not in the best spot. Even though he has 83 workers right now, the saturation is not fantastic after losing that base at the 9 o'clock, and he also doesn't really have a lot of anti-air to deal with these medevacs.
Yeah, that is the issue when you play Ling Bane into fast Ultra. You don't have your Hydras, you don't have your Mutalisks, so the medevacs kind of run free. Good pickups by Maru here, still trying to do work with these 4 medevacs. They're starting to get weak, though. The Spore Crawlers will actually start to take them out. They drop in the middle line. This will be their kind of last stand here. There is no path home for this Bioforce, but there's another huge army on the side of the 3rd base of SHIN, and it will fall.
Yeah, you look at the medevacs there, the triangle expansion getting cleaned up, and it seems like a very bad trade, but that bought Maru the space and time that he needed to take down another hatchery of SHIN.
Yeah, nice little counterattack here. A few more SCVs go down. Oh, this is such an annoying position to deal with.
What a nasty angle.
You got to go all the way around.
Oh no, it just keeps getting worse.
And the initial trade there from the Marines was so good into those Zerglings, and then he picks up.
Man, beautiful moves by Maru right now. SHIN hasn't even retaken that base on the left-hand side, instead re-expanding to what was his 3rd.
Yeah, and SHIN's down to just 4 bases now, with a 5th going up, whilst Maru is sitting on 4 CCs of his own. I think I prefer his economy at this point once you factor in the mules.
Oh, absolutely.
yeah, for sure.
It's not even close. I mean, you look at the mineral income differential right now. It's 2.2k minerals a minute for SHIN. Maru is 4k plus at times with all of these mules landing in. He has so many orbital commands. He's sitting at 70 SCVs. The mineral saturation is perfect.
Yeah, the one thing SHIN does have going for him is these Ultralisks. We don't see any ghosts or anything like that. There is a healthy Marauder count which can try to deal with them. This hatchery forced to cancel, but Lings once again get into a mineral line here.
Yeah, they're going to find some more SCV damage, but there are so many command centers to replenish that word count as quickly as Maru needs. He is still maxed out, going to be taking down another hatchery over here at the Triangle expansion. Parasitic Bomb is going to drop one of those medevacs. Maru immediately identifies it, peels that one away, gets 2 queens from the low ground once more. Shin's on 4 bases, but it feels like it's 3.5 bases because these Marines have been such a problem on this mineral line.
The multitasking of Maru is breathtaking right now. Attacking in 3 places at once almost is so much to deal with, especially when you don't have anti-air to finally clear out these medevacs. It looks like Shin will clear up this army once more, but it picks up. It'll go somewhere else. And Shin's just putting out fires wherever he can, but there's too many.
Yeah, the multitasking is just unreal. This feels like a war of attrition, and normally you would favor the Zerg in a war of attrition, but Maru's economy is so through the roof off that 4cc opening, now taking extra expansions, a lot of them even orbitals, not even planetary fortresses, as every single base of Shin seemingly is under fire, drones going down, just non-stop, every which way, and he's having to remake so many hatcheries right now. He's retaking the 9 o'clock expansion, but the mineral lines just cannot get saturated.
Those 2 Marines had more than 20 kills between them. The Ultra Cavern goes down. These +3 Marauders just kill buildings so quickly. It's such an issue for Shin right now. This hatchery as well, which has been one of Shin's good bases, is also going to fall, and it feels like things are spiraling out of control here, State.
Yeah, Shin is struggling right now at 150 supply. He cannot surpass that marker as the trades are happening faster than he can actually gather resources because the harassment has been so relentless at all of these expansions. You can see Maru just abusing the lack of anti-air here against Shin. It's 6,000 resources traded in the advantage of Maru, and I guarantee you that Maru's also mined a lot more resources.
Oh, for sure. The damage just does not stop. There's just units everywhere for Maru right now. How do you deal with this as Shin? He doesn't even have the army to kind of contest everything, even if he's in place. Another hatchery goes down. Maru's killing bases left, right, and center. 6 hatcheries have gone down this game.
It's just a masterclass of macro TVZ that we're seeing right now from Maru, and it all started with a little bit of a gamble going for that fast 4th command center. At what, 3 minutes and 30 seconds or so, he did that 4th CC. Shin was not able to punish it. He might have scouted it with the Overlord, we don't know, but in any case, he was just not able to close the gap economically, and now Maru at 200 supply going to be focus firing down these Ultralisks, and I think we are going to be getting a rematch between Hero and Maru in the grand finals of the RSL as Maru is finally able to close it out versus Shin. And what in the world did we just see? That 4cc opening.
After 2 Rax Reaper, that's the crazy thing. Like, what a build here from Maru. I love it. Like, it's so greedy. It's a good risk to take against a Zerg who doesn't normally, you know, do crazy all-ins and stuff. We've seen him roach pressure in this matchup, but I really liked the choice, and it paid off big time.
Yeah, I mean, say Shin does go for the all-in. We were talking about this earlier. It's a best of 7, and you're up 3-1. You have 2 more games where you can just play whatever style that you want. So, in terms of just the strategic planning in a best of X series, Maru winning the most GSLs of anybody in history. He is somebody tough to outsmart in a best of 7. He just knows what to do. He knows how to plan a series, and he really flexed that muscle here versus Shin. Fantastic win, 4-1, as we are going to be getting that rematch between Hero and Maru in the grand finals. And I'm pulling for Maru, man. He has been looking so good this RSL, and the winners final between Hero and Maru yesterday was one of the best PBT series I've seen all year.
Oh, yeah, it was wild. Maru is back in top form. It's such a treat to watch him play Terran at this level. It's been a while since I've seen him play this good. I feel like he's actually got a shot. I mean, you do have to win 2 sets. That is kind of the big issue. But I think he's capable. It could go either way. This is going to be a banger, guys.
Yeah, no matter what, it's going to be epic. I'm at a loss for words, man. The 4cc opening, I'm still scratching my head. That's one of the replays that I'm going to check out later on. Anyway, folks, we want to give a big shout out to our official partner here at the RSL Revival, Archon Studio. They are making the StarCraft tabletop miniatures game. We actually have a box right now here in the RSL Studio. This is the Zeratul. We got this before it's going out live to the world. Pre-sales available later this year. And it just looks awesome. I'm so excited to get some more StarCraft merch. I'm going to be doing a little bit of painting myself here with the Zeratul, as we're so appreciative to our Archon studio, not only just making the miniatures game here for StarCraft, giving us more StarCraft content, but supporting the RSL, supporting the StarCraft esports scene. They're awesome.
Yeah, much love to Archon Studio, and much love to you guys over on the Patreon. You are what enables us to run this tournament. Thank you for all your support so far. If you haven't joined yet, please check it out. There's a bunch of different tiers with various perks. You can also sign up for free on the mailing list if you just want to get notifications about when we're running stuff. So check it out at patreon.com/revivesc2.
Yeah, the Patreon is really the lifeblood of this tournament, so we sincerely appreciate your support. And as an added perk, Patreon supporters enjoy a 20% discount on all merchandise at tastelessthreads.com. That's where you can pick up your RSL merch like the hoodies, the mugs, the shirts, the pins, in addition to all of the very cool StarCraft and esports-related shirts and graphic tees that Tasteless has on his page.
Yeah, we also have tickets available, guys, for the offline finals, which is happening next month, December 13th to 14th, at the Big Place in Seoul, down near Gangnam. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be super sick, as Gemini likes to say. I cannot wait for it to see the live audience, the players in the venue. It's going to be hype, guys. If you're able to make it, I highly recommend grabbing those tickets soon.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, especially because on day one of the offline finals, we're basically doing another tournament. It's going to be a single elimination bracket for all of the participants in RSL. Those who played in the main event, those who played in the qualifiers, were all eligible to sign up for this one-day tournament. The winner of that tournament is going to advance to Finals Day, Day 2, December 14th, where they will face off against the RSL Season 1 winner, Classic, the Season 2 runner-up, Zound, because Classic won again, and Hero or Maru.
Yeah, it's going to be stacked, guys. It's going to be so much fun. I hope to see some of you there. I cannot wait. And I also cannot wait for this grand finals coming up.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching the VOD, it's goodbye for now. But if you're watching live on Twitch, make sure you stay tuned because we are about to kick off the finals of the RSL Season 3. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, a best of 7 between Hero and Maru. We'll see you soon.